make sure. Oh, my audio levels are good. Everything's good except for my chair, which is fucking broken. Hello, boys and girls. It's King Jiffy Coats, and I'm back with another one. And of course, my camera is messing up because it's always messing up. But yeah, we're back with another one. I got some stuff to go through today. I saw Hero Hey made a video called "When Devs Care More About DEI Than Making Good Games." I got Wings of Redemption. I got imallexx, and then I got Why Manga's Beating American Comics. I got a full slot today. I feel like I'm gonna have some fun. I feel like I'm going to do some maybe some disagreeing, because I tend to sit in a very nuanced position on some of these things. So we're gonna get right into it. But first, we're gonna start out with Hero Hey, When Devs Care More About DEI Than Making Good Games. Now, I hate the DEI talking points all the time. Not hate it. I understand where both sides are coming from. I like to when I look at a problem, I look at both sides of the problem and then kind of see a solution that would fit best. And I think one of the biggest issues is millennials and like the current people in the writing rooms in today's market just don't understand how to write. They don't understand how to write these characters that they want to put in. Instead, they stop the progress of the actual storytelling to lecture you. And I think that's just the wrong way to go about it, because I think you'd get a lot more people more sympathetic to your cause if you would go in and actually just make a well-rounded great character instead of lecturing the player, because nobody likes to be lectured. But here we go. Here we're going to jump into it. I also wanted to say one more thing before I hit play. I hate people like Melanie Mack who go out there and they're like, oh, brown person in video games, it's instantly DEI. We don't even know if the game's out yet or if it's any good or what's happening. Oh, it's instantly DEI and we should be really mad about it. I don't like that. I think it's counteractive. Now, if the dev says something about like alienating a certain audience, sure, it's different. Or if the game comes out and says it's this thing when it's obviously not that thing, I think criticism then is available to be utilized. I think that it is fair to criticize all these developers. I think it's fair to voice your opinion. I'm not gonna have to agree with it. And like when it comes to stuff like South of Midnight, even though I don't know if that game's out yet or not, but I know the talking before it was like, oh, there's a black chick as the main character, of course it's going to be woke. I don't like that. A game could be freaking awesome. I mean, it was the same type of discourse before Indiana Jones, where they saw one super gay developer and instantly decided that because he worked on the game, it was going to be woke. Get the heck out of here, bro. Get out of here. I don't like that. I don't like jumping to conclusions like that. I think you need to see all the evidence, see all the things laid out right for you, and then you can make a decision on what actually went down. Is the writing bad? Is this thing's bad? I think that we need more logical, calmer discourse around this, and we would have more logical people from both sides instead of two idiots yelling at each other as loud as they possibly can.
Hilarious news here to start the week. So, do you remember that GDC thing, the Game Developers Conference? We talked about that fairly recently because there was this Canadian dev who was talking about how he's supposed to attend GDC and he wants to, but he's afraid to come to the USA. He thinks he's going to get like detained or something for being Canadian. He's recommending like other Canadian devs to not go to the USA and a bunch of other like crazy stuff. He even said,
this is just retarded. I'm gonna drop the retarded thing right here. I mean, I hate people like this that just take, like, they've heard a couple things in the news. They've taken a couple things in the news, take it to the most drastic extent, and then refuse to look at what that is actually being said. This is what I was already saying in the beginning of this video, where I try to look at both sides. When you go over here, it's like, okay, well, why is this happening? What is the actual things? What is actually being said? Look at both points. Look at both situations. If you can look at both of them and actually understand what's going on, boom, you problem solved, and you won't have idiots doing this. But the problem is we villainized everybody on one side because they're on the opposite side of us, and this just causes blatant misinformation and fear-mongering.
Like, if you do go to the USA, you should wipe your phone first. But anyways, that was just an example of the other week when we were talking about GDC. We also talked about it last year because it was going viral for this event they had going on there where a bunch of game devs were getting together to scream. Yeah, to scream like a bunch of weirdo freaks over the state of the games industry. You've probably seen this clip. I'm only going to play like literally 2 seconds of it for the people out there who haven't seen this yet, because yeah, I'm not exaggerating. Like, that's literally what happened. So here's 2 seconds of it. Just know that it went on for like a minute though, but I'm not going to put us all through a full minute of this, or even more than like 2 seconds of it. Grown
Bro,
adults.
what the fuck is this? Hold on. He says it's 2 minutes of it, but we're gonna actually do some deep diving here. We are going to do the work because you shouldn't ever take anybody's words for face value. Now, this could be as cringy as it is. If this is as bad as it is, I might. Oh God, dude, this is a year ago, so this is a while ago. Okay. What, they're doing scream therapy? I always thought this stuff is so cringy. This is like your typical HR needs a reason for their job to still be there. Or not HR, your one person is like, oh, morality's down, so let's have everybody scream in the quad. I don't know, this is cringe, bro. It's mad cringe. Now, I found a clip that was 23 seconds, and the longest thing after that was Asmongold reacting to that 23 seconds, so I don't know if it was a full 2 minutes. If you guys find the clip that's actually 2 minutes, send it to me, but I think it is probably blown a little bit out of proportion, but still cringe, dude. It's these people that live in their little echo chambers, and it's what I've always been so appreciative when it comes to stuff like South Park, because those Spurgs actually know how to Spurg the right way. What they try to do is that they come in with a certain thought process. They want to look at how the other thought process would handle it and try to go at it from different angles, and I feel like there's not enough different angles going in, and that makes people definitely feel isolated because you're only having one perspective talking at the table.
Adults acting like that, man. It's the world coming to. Anyways, that's just some context to the GDC. Now, onto the funny part. Kotaku reports, no one was around to collect Life is Strange Double Exposures Award for social impact following layoffs. So what is the Social Impact Award? Well, let's take a look.
Well, I mean, one thing, this is something that I see a lot. These fucking people get online, they get really, really fucking mad. They take their nipples and they just like twirl them really hard, and then they just spurg out online how you should never fire any developers. But here's a sad truth of any business, right? If your game does not sell well, which from what I heard, Life is Strange did not sell incredibly well. If it does not sell well, you don't have any money to pay anybody, so you're going to have to lay people off. And when you're only speaking to a small niche of subset of people that are going to instantly agree with you and be willing to put up with some of the things that you might put in the game. Now, I don't know if Life is Strange lectures you, but I did see a lot of angry people on the internet about Life is Strange. It's also a type of game that's really niche too. It's in that Telltale type world. So you have one already a niche game. You're banking on it selling because of these certain people. Those certain people buy it, but you're not making it kind of appealing to everyone. Now, I don't know that much about Life is Strange. I could be wrong here. It looked cringe as shit to me, so I just bowed out. I just bowed out because it didn't look like a game for me, and that's fair. Not everything's fucking made for me. Not everything gets my micro dick hard, if you know what I mean. But I bowed out, and obviously if the game doesn't sell well enough to keep everybody employed, you're going to have to lay some people off.
Social Impact Award. Finalists will be recognized for a game that advances equality, justice, intersectionality, and or sustainability.
I mean, if it's winning an award like this, it's probably going to be a lecture game, as I like to call them. And I'm not going to lie to you, the people who disagree with these lectures are not going to buy your fucking game. They're going to see the trailers. They're going to see the discourse. They're going to move the fuck opposite direction because they know the game's not made for them. And I think that that's a big problem we have now, where it's almost like people are villainizing one side and then yelling at the other side that they're the problem, when I think that the industry just needs to understand that you can make both of these people happy if you just write a good goddamn story. It's so funny to me how, like, there's movies like Moonlighting, right, which is just fucking amazing, and I think anybody who hates that movie, they're, oh, gay black guy, I hate it. Well, fuck you, dude, you're a fucking cringe idiot. The movie's amazing. The movie's really, really good, and I think that I've known enough people who have watched that movie who sit on like the more conservative side, and they're like, yeah, it's a good movie. It made me a little uncomfortable at times just because of the subject matter, but it was a good movie. And I think that that's something that could be done. Instead of just sitting here and lecturing me for 27 minutes about gay rights, you could just make a fucking great story, But when you stop and then talk to the fucking consumer like they're a little fucking retarded spurg monster, because that's the way you see them online, you're like, fuck these little retarded spurg monsters, I don't want to fuck with them, I hope they don't even fucking buy my game. Then they don't buy your game and you're out of a fucking job.
And works to positively impact the lives of its players in a meaningful way. My gosh, that sounds pompous and obnoxious. Bunch of fake people trying to act like they're the most morally virtuous ones out there. It's really funny how they're trying to prop this game up. Like, according to their own award, they're basically trying to say that this game makes the world a better place. But even on the Life is Strange subreddit, their top posts like this: no spoilers, double exposure is bad and not worth your money or time. The fact is, this game is utterly lifeless. The ambience is dead, the vibe is flat, the character dynamics are uninteresting and lack any worthwhile thematics, the music doesn't stick in my head like they did for the prior games, and this repetition of who did it mystery once again has grown tiresome and will in all likelihood never match the high of the original game. A top response reading: in 30 minutes of play, bowling with LGBT championship, gay bar, lesbian attendant, friend Moses, gay, lesbian Gwen, forced to hit on the lesbian attendant and ask her out. I don't particularly care about it, even Moses seems to be a very charismatic character, and I'm currently curious about the character's development, but currently the social aspect of the game seems like a satire made by South Park or something someone would see in The Boys. Look, we have 95% LGBT content present. I hope they delve deeper into the plot, the character, and the social environment, and not just raise flags of representation without any meaning, just to say it's there. Yep, sounds like...
And this is the problem. This is what I like to highlight. I fucking hate when people come out, like the people who were calling fucking... what was it, Kingdom Come Deliverance woke or whatever, and they were just spurging out on the internet. They're like, oh my god, it's so woke because if you go through a bunch of fucking hoops, you can make out with a dude. Who fucking cares? It's optional. It's fucking optional. It has no effect on your game by the end of the day. It's not like it's going to change the dynamic of your playthrough if you don't decide to make out with a bunch of dudes. It does not matter. And if you want to make like the whole historical context or whatever, shut the fuck up. Dude, it's not like it's forcing you down these paths. It's different when the game's forcing you to do so or putting you in a position where you have no other options. I think that's a problem. And that's where the virtue signaling pisses me off, because it's like, I don't like this option. You're not really giving me any options. You're forcing me down the pre-existing story that you want to tell me, that you want to force down my fucking throat like I'm fucking Sasha Grey, and I'm not going to play with that shit, dude. I'm not going to play with that, dog. It's annoying. It's like you sacrificed writing for a message, and that's where I draw the line.
A complete soulless corpo DEI slop, really trying to pad those ESG metrics. Over on Steam, as of recording, the game currently has a mixed review score, and recent reviews going all the way down to 56%. Let's also take note of how hilarious it is that the commenter over on Reddit said the social aspect of the game seems like satire. And then we actually had the GDC awarding this game the Social Impact Award. The jokes really just write themselves. And in this case, even more so, because once again, the devs were laid off. No one could even collect that award anyways. Although Kotaku did eventually say, Balau confirmed that members of the development team who were attending GDC separately did eventually manage to go collect the award. But for fans and others in the industry, it's a grimly ironic reminder of the current precarious state of the game industry, especially for story.
And the reason the game industry is in this position is they're not trying to appeal to other people because they see anybody who disagrees with them as the enemy. And I think that's such a dangerous position to sit in. I understand that there's fucking spurg idiots on the right who like to fucking yell at every game for no reason and want to yell DEI at everything. Grums, what a fucking grifter. And then on the left, they're the same people who want to spurg out and defend every game that gets labeled with the DEI or woke mark. You got your fucking David Jaffes over there, right? You have your people that are fucking way out there screaming at the fucking walls like a schizophrenic retard, right? But then you have your normal people who are like, I just don't want to waste my money again and get lectured. And then you have the other people that are like, you know, I agree with the message, I'll play it, but it's not the best game ever. It seems to focus way too much on this other stuff. I wish they would have focused on the lore and the world building instead of just this other stuff that I just didn't care about. And I feel like those people are the more logical people, because like I look at like some of the reviews for like Dragon Age the Veilguard that weren't done by like the people who were really mad at the game. The people who even went in with more open-minded thought process, they still came away from that game that the game just wasn't great. It wasn't great. It was kind of not a good RPG. It didn't hold up to the rest of the series. It retconned some stuff, and it upset some people in that regard. And they could have give a shit less about the social commentary that was in the game. And so you're taking the regular audience who was already had your back, that was willing to ignore the social commentary, and you upset them because you focused on the social commentary so much that you let all the other game mechanics and gameplay features that your other games had, shove them to the back burner so you can focus on this other shit that doesn't fucking matter. And all that's gonna do is take the people that like love your franchise and are willing to buy it regardless. They're going to feel burnt, and they're gonna buy your stuff again. And then the people who are annoyed with the political stuff, they're not gonna buy your stuff again. So then you have nobody to fucking buy your games. So who's gonna pay your paycheck, buddy? Nobody. So you fucking lose your job. That's the real nuts and tacos of the situation, buddy.
Driven adventure games, a once popular genre that struggled to find sustainable success in recent years. As always, these sort of people never take accountability for their own mistakes. Oh, hey, we didn't make mistakes on this game. We couldn't have made it better. No, it's just the state of the industry. That's why the game didn't do well. They write the most modern audience DI infected slop possible. The game flops, and they have no self-reflection at all. Then their journalist buddies of theirs write stuff like this, trying to manipulate the narrative. Lastly, we'll take a look at this section that elaborates on the layoffs, saying, Deck 9 ended up laying off a number of staff following the release, including many who worked on Double Exposure's narrative team. It was the third mass layoff at the studio in 2 years. Weak sales reportedly led to a large loss for publisher Square Enix, which owns the series. It's unclear what Life is Strange's future is at the moment, but Deck 9 ended Double Exposure with a plan for what came next. Okay, you know what? I'll read that next part. This is where the article ends. No matter what anyone thinks about certain creative calls that were made for Double Exposure, I think it's important that people understand that they are all made with intent. We thought long and hard about every one of them, and have done our best to basically plant seeds, game director John Stouter said in November. That ending is just to say that we have a future plan. There's not a whole lot more I can say than that. This is all heading somewhere, should folks want more after Double Exposure. Now we'll take a look at some public reception for this news. Over on our PC Gaming, post titled, "We all got laid off," says former Deck 9 narrative designer after no one was around to pick up Life is Strange Double Exposure's GDC Awards win, and posting an article about that from PC Gamer. Getting top responses like this. I'm genuinely tired of this poor game devs who are unjustly laid off.
And I'm really sick of this narrative too, because I think that the accountability has to come somewhere. And your normal programmers and shit, they're all going to be the ones that get the chopping block. And I think that it should be the higher ups. I think it should be some of these studio heads and shit that need, their heads need to roll. Like, let's say if I was at Square Enix, right, and somebody brought some shit out, and they released it, it was slop, it was shit, it had a mid response, it didn't sell well, I would call the project lead in and say, what happened? Who made these creative decisions? What happened here? Who was the fucking cum monkey who did this job? Who was the fucking swallowing captain who did this job? And I would find out who they were. I would fire all of them right there and say, okay, and you have, like, if this is their first time at project lead, I would say, you're fired too. Find a new job. Sorry. You obviously cannot handle this well enough. I want you and everybody who failed at this fucking game to leave. I wouldn't fire the other people. I would find somebody else who did something that was complimented well on the game, right? I would go in, I would say, this guy, who is fucking Jim, I heard the combat in this game was the only redeeming quality. What was your thoughts on the story? And if they say it was fucking awesome, I'd be like, you know, maybe I should fire you too. It's like when you have this many, like you have a big problem, you find somebody who thinks that they can do things in a better direction. You find somebody who did something right. You then say, do you think you could handle the project better? And what would you do different? You would ask them those questions, and if they can answer it in a better way, they then get a promotion and somebody else gets fucking fired. I don't think you should just like lay off all the fucking, the office workers, all that put their fucking blood, sweat, and tears into the shit. But I don't think that these project leads need a fucking job.
Off narrative. In some cases it applies, but in most it's in response to bad games that failed. Believe it or not, there are consequences for not doing your job well. That being said, the heads of these companies making 7 figures often dodge these same repercussions. That's unfortunately kind of America in a nutshell right now. Looking at you, Andrew Wilson. Interestingly, the OP would post here saying, "Why is life in the games industry so bleak right now? I'm closing to releasing my own indie game, and I'm terrified it might all collapse. Every year seems to be getting worse." They got 13 upvotes, and the reason I point that out is because this response got 63. Let's read it. It says, "Lots of games bombing due to lacking quality or badly misreading their target audience. This is helped along by consumers having a lot of solid choices available to them, so there's no real need to settle for something mediocre. I don't think that the market is really contracting or anything like that. Good games continue to make boatloads of cash. But for example, this game has mediocre reviews and a fairly bad maximum concurrent player count on Steam. It just plain wasn't well received by general audiences and didn't do well commercially as a result."
And this is 100% factual. I mean, I use this all the time. You're probably used to King Jiffy Codes pulling out the old Immortals of Avion, but I think that is the perfect example of why the AA industry and the indie scene is doing so well right now compared to AAA. When Immortals of Avion came out, it failed. It flopped. It was a piece of shit. It was lectury. It was annoying. It had every problem that a modern game could possibly fucking have, where it was overbloated, had every mechanic, and none of them well. It had storytelling of a toddler who was sucking on bleach. It also had the virtue signaling that thought it could put it at the top of Blue Sky's Twitter feed or whatever it's called. Blue Ski, I don't know. Blue Sky's weird. But it had enough that it would have got Mark Hamill to jerk off on his face. Then you look at the media response, right? The game comes out, it flops. The media response instantly starts coming out. They're talking to the creator. He's saying things like, I made a narrative story-based FPS game in 2023. It's dead now. You can't do that anymore. Nobody's buying excuse. You should lose your fucking job. That's all I heard. And it was just so funny. The media was holding water. Then RoboCop comes out. RoboCop, yeah, one of my favorite games to ever release. I fucking love RoboCop Rogue City. The game's just badass. And every report that game got, positive as fuck in terms of sales, positive and fuck in terms of storytelling and what people said about the game. The game's world is dynamic. Everything about it feels fucking RoboCop. It had love for the IP. It didn't try to fuck up the IP in any regard. Everything about it was cool and awesome, and I loved it, and the sales reflected that. It is that studio's highest selling game, and it came out the exact same year as Immortals of Avion. The problem's always pushed back onto the consumer, like we're the fault, like, oh, it's the game industry's fault, it's this fault. No, it was your fucking fault for not understanding the demographic that you're trying to sell to, because they don't want to hear your shit. They don't want to deal with your bullshit. They don't need your excuses. They will find another game that hits all the boxes that they want to hit and go buy that game. I mean, it's so simple to me. It's so simple to me, and I don't understand why more people don't get, like, the hard axe when they release absolute slop. Because, obviously, they're not doing the job that they're paid to do, and that's the problem with the AAA industry right now. I think that the indie industry is picking up so much slack because of these issues. Because they're more focused on telling a story. Whether you agree with the narrative or not, the story's there. It gets a little bit much at times because the indie people care so much about their story that sometimes it can be a little fucking long, like over fucking blown, where they want everything to just be known to you. So there's all these they care sometimes way too hard, but that's not a bad thing. I think that they end up bringing out something that they truly care about, and I think that it hits a lot harder because you can tell the passion's there. And in the AAA industry, there's no passion. It's just how can we get the most brownie points from the media? How can we get the most brownie points from a certain niche on Twitter? How can we do this? And then when the game fails, because they've been only targeting a very small demographic instead of the mass game industry, this is what fucking happens, dog. Your shit doesn't sell well. Fucking okay, you now go fucking work somewhere else and hire somebody that can get the job done right.
And then we got this exchange. Game was terrible. No one bought it. Not complicated to figure out why the devs were laid off. What the heck even is a social impact award? What impact did a failed game no one played make? Is it just wishful thinking? Did they mean it as, we wish this game had made an impact? It hit all the social checkboxes, and that's it. Perhaps the real social impact is people feeling bad for the developers that got laid off and couldn't accept the award. Performance art. The most upvoted comment in that thread reading, The Kotaku headline from a couple days ago was way funnier, because once again the article in this post was from PC Gamer. He goes on to quote that Kotaku article, which we've read multiple times already, but one more time. No one was around to collect Life is Strange Double Exposure's award for social impact following layoffs, saying The Onion couldn't come up with comedy gold like that. Then there's a deleted comment.
By the way, these guys are all cringe too. Like, I get there's a Reddit thread, so it's gonna get really cringe, but like, the Onion couldn't even figure out something this funny. Like, I mean, this is why I like some of these fucking all like permanently online people, and I love that people are always like saying, "Oh, well, you got more incels in your audience. You got more incels in your audience." That's like the Asmongold versus Hassan audience, like yelling at each other's audience thing. But it's like one audience, just anybody who's permanently captured on Reddit like this shit and is like commenting on every single thing like it's a big deal. Doesn't really matter that much. I get that the commentary is important at times, and like, but the developers aren't gonna read this shit. They got the fucking they got like Kotaku and IGN and all this other shit to hold their water for them.
Someone saying Double Exposure wasn't a remaster though, and they got a response that says, and it didn't have any social impact either. However, it looks like this commenter wasn't so happy with the other discourse going on here. Their comment saying, in this thread, the most terminally online, cynical, ignorant, capital G gamers Reddit has on its platform. Game was terrible. Y'all are really out here making a difference. And that's...
I mean, that guy is right up there with the Onion posting cringeworthiness. It's just like... It's so funny because I saw this a lot before that Assassin's Creed game popped out or came out. You had people that just became super insufferable defending the game, and they were just as bad, sometimes even worse than the people who were like going after the game. Now, I had kind of a different opinion on the Assassin's Creed game, where I just didn't care because it was Assassin's Creed and they haven't put out anything worthy of my money to buy in a very long time. I do not trust Ubisoft. I saw what they did to Tom Clancy's name. That's enough for me to never put money on one of their games again. Simple enough. If they're willing to take one of the most beloved authors of all time and then turn him to the most basic common denominator the moment after he dies, they don't deserve my fucking money. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I just don't like it. Until they come out with like a Tom Clancy game that actually respects Tom Clancy, I probably won't buy another Ubisoft game. Plain and simple. That's my opinions on Ubisoft. I don't think that they care about the original Assassin's Creed. I don't think they care about any of their IPs. They barely put out anything worth a shit. And so why would I buy Assassin's Creed Shadows or whatever the fuck it was called? I think it was Shadows, yeah. Assassin's Creed Shadows, when they haven't proved to me why I should fucking buy it. They haven't. They haven't given me a single fucking reason to even touch their fucking games. So I'm not going to touch it. That was my opinion on it. So the discourse on both sides, I thought there was some that made sense from this side where they were like, it's kind of weird that the first historical person you used, you're fucking blowing him way out of proportion, and you're actually not being very culturally conscious of Japan, the place that you claim to care so much for, which it got so bad that the Japanese prime minister was like, yo, bro, why the fuck is this game just letting you murder people at shrines and destroy some of our religious locations? It was so bad that they literally put an update in to change the name of these shrines because they were breaking copyright law in Japan. Then on the other side, there's people that just say, were just overblowing it to the point that it was like, oh, they're all racists. But I understood the fact that they were also sitting here. It was like, it's a game, bro. It's not that big of a deal. Yasuke was a real person. And I kind of think it looks cool. I'm hoping that this is like my Assassin's Creed meets Ghost of Tsushima. And I can understand that. I can understand people who were like annoyed with the angry discourse and just wanted to play their fucking games and want to be left the fuck alone. There was a guy named the Fighting Cowboy who he spurred the fuck out on his chat because the dude it goes pretty hard on the anti-woke guys, right? Everything's like he hates to hear any difference of opinion that doesn't agree with him. And so he spurred the fuck out. And got mad at somebody in his chat that was saying like the game was woke or whatever. And so he told him to just fucking leave. Why the fuck are you showing up? And I agree with him. Just let people play their fucking games. If they want to play this game that you have already put in your mind is woke garbage, let him play the fucking game. It's his life. Don't tell everybody else what they can and can't play. That's annoying. That's cringe. I fucking hate that shit. Leave people the fuck alone. Let them do their shit. You're turning into, like, another counteracting thing is, I felt the same energy when Fighting Cowboy spurred the fuck out and went full schizo mode on his chat. I felt the same exact way I did when I heard people getting attacked because they were playing Hogwarts Legacy. Leave people the fuck alone and let them play the games they want to play. I don't think that's that hard of a fucking concept. I don't think this is like, this isn't like fucking advanced calculus, bro. This is just simply leave people the fuck alone, let them play their games. If they have fun with it, they can keep playing it. I think that that's the most important thing at the end of the day. But you also shouldn't be so inundated in your own mindset that you're like, oh, I can't see the other side. They're all fucking retards, because all that does is breed you into being a fucking retard on your side, and then the other side's being bred into retards on their side, and all they're doing is failing to look at any points that the other side can have, and you're just fucking putting yourself in these little teams, and that's a problem, and that's an issue. And I think that if more people could, like, put a little fucking leaf over, or like twig or branch, put a little branch over here and say, okay, before we get mad, I want to hear your points out. I want to hear your perspective. Okay, cool. This is my perspective. These are my differences. Maybe you'll find some points that you agree on, and then there's a more rational discourse. And I just don't see that happening. And that's kind of the position that the industry's in right now. It's like you're either for it or against it. You can't have any nuance, and that bothers the fuck out of me.
That's where we'll leave it for this one. As mentioned earlier, please consider letting me know what you think about this news in the comments. If you enjoyed the coverage, also consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one.
I don't know. That's kind of my perspective on the whole thing, and it comes down to, and that it just made me think about that when he was going through the Reddit thread, right? He was going through this Reddit thread, and he was showing the spurg outs on both sides, but he wasn't like saying that like the fucking onion guy, it was like, oh, he was kind of like laughing at that, but then the other guy, he was like, oh, this is cringe. They're both fucking cringe. They're both. I'm gonna put a hard line in the sand right here. Both these guys are fucking cringe. They're pretty ridiculous. I mean, the gaming industry has gotten pretty ridiculous with its virtue signaling. I think that's apparent. Even if I agree with some of the movements or whatever that, and some of the things they care about in these virtue signaling, they don't actually care, and that's my problem. It's like, oh, we pretend to care because it's Pride Month. Oh, you don't like our game because you just, and they use it as a shield. They use it as something to stand in front of them so they can't get any criticism for their game being a piece of dog shit. And that's where I have a problem. That's where I come in and I'm saying, no. You can't just take a marginalized community, shove them in front of you, and say, fucking, oh, you just hate them. Look how fucking gay they are. Look how fucking their skin's so dark. Oh, you hate them because you're a racist homophobe. Oh, look how fucking stupid and ugly they are. Oh yeah, look, you're a piece of shit, aren't you? It's like you're utilizing these virtue signal points as a shield between actual criticism, and that's where you turn people into thinking every game that has like any of these groups as like a main character, they end up thinking it's like a canary in a coal mine. And then you take the people who at first weren't even in the culture war, well, had nothing to do with it, but then they see the rhetoric coming from the media and stuff, and they're like, oh, so these guys just hate brown and gay people? Oh, what? These guys are fucking gross, dude. That's fucking gross to just hate people based on their fucking preferences and their skin color. Things they can't, not preferences. I said that wrong. But things they can't change about themselves. They're mad at these people because of things they can't change about themselves. They're fucking disgusting. Of course I'm gonna stand up for this game. They're utilizing this the fact that there's a culture war and pitting people against each other. And I think that sometimes even pre-game they're doing this shit just to create buzz about their game. I think that they see it as a win, like especially when I saw the stuff going around about the Shadows game, right? I started seeing it pop up and I'm like, holy shit. I think they did it because they wanted to drum up controversy, because they knew that these two retards would yell at each other, and they would constantly yell at each other. and there'd be constant exposure. So a game that might have sold worse because nobody would have given a shit about it, because nobody really cares about, like, I mean, people care enough about Assassin's Creed where it's gonna do okay, but it's not gonna save Ubisoft. So they were like, how do we virtue signal and also drum up controversy for our game? We use Yasuke. And I feel like that might have been a direction they went in. Now, I don't know if this is factual, and I heard the game was okay. I just know that if I were sitting in a thing and I didn't know, I had like a bad image, and I was like, how do I fucking get some get some fucking eyes on this game? Put a controversial character in the lead that you know is already going to create some buzz, and then have the retards yell at each other. That's just kind of the way I feel about things, because then they can sit back and they can write off all accountability, because they're not the villains. The fucking idiots that are mad about it are the villains. That's the reason their game didn't sell well, not because it was generic slop that they've made 80 million times. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope that I had some insight into the issue, instead of just jumping in and calling everything fucking woke or whatever, or coming in and calling everything racist. I hope that I added some perspective to it, because I think a lot of people just see that I make a video like this and they just assume I sit on one side or the other, when I think that we need to add some nuance to this conversation. And I think more people will start to call the industry out for their shit fucking writing, their generic fucking gameplay, generic fucking world building, because those things need to change. Otherwise, I personally am not going to buy your shit, and it has nothing to do with any sort of politics. Thank you guys, like and subscribe, and I'm fucking gone. Alright, we're going to get into some real fun shit. We're going to get into some really, 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 really fun shit. Otherwise... Oh, we got try to understand both sides. I lean fairly left, but identity politics have been shoved down our throat. It helps no one. Exactly, dude. Exactly. It's fucking annoying. Sorry I haven't been reading chat. My chat was like bugged out, and I didn't want to pause the video and fix it while I was like I was fucking locked in. My points were on fire. I was like slow tugging, making sure my points were lined up to where I felt like I actually put the best discourse onto the video. But yeah, no, it's absolutely annoying that it gets shoved down our throat. It's absolutely annoying that I can't just like play a game and I have to be lectured. It's fucking gay and cringe, and I don't like it. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are like me, that have no problem with gay characters, have no problem with minority characters. They just want those characters to be written fucking well. That's all I'm asking for. I want the character that's like, oh, well, this character is Muslim, right? I want them to just be more than Muslim. I don't give a shit about their religion. Why do I have to listen to them lecture about it? Why do I need like endless fucking history lessons on it? It's like, okay, I get it, dude. Like, do you have any other personality other than your religion? Right? And the same thing goes to if there was a Christian character, right? I mean, adding in that, like, there's moments where it like makes their character more profound and more interesting. Absolutely put it in. But just to put it in to check a box and then to have a moment to lecture about global politics, nobody fucking wants that when they're chilling playing a game. Because, like, I hate the idiots that get mad at Miles Morales. I fucking hate those guys. I think they're the worst fucking people. I think they're annoying. You all, because those same people I know in a video have made it make your own character, make an original character. So they found another universe Spider-Man. They named him something different, gave him a completely different background, and even had like a relative of his be a villain, which is a very intriguing dynamic. And people are attached to it. People like Miles. So it's like, I see stuff like that, I'm like, big massive win. You didn't just make a new universe, label him Peter Parker, give him the same backstory, and make him black. That annoys the shit out of me. It's like, fucking, why did you do that? There's no reason to do that. There's nothing that's gained from that. All you're trying to do is retcon an old character that everybody else liked, so when you make a movie, you can put the new one in and say, oh, well, the comic books had it, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like that stuff. I never have. But I want to get into some Lolcows. I want to get into some Lolcows right now. I think we got a really interesting thing just happened. Now, I saw this popping up on Twitter. I am an in and out fan of Lolcow Live. I haven't watched it in a while, but I enjoy Lolcow Live kind of like people enjoy WWE. They know it's a facade. They know it's like, here's the thing with like WWE, a lot of it is scripted, but a lot of the stuff that happens in it as well is real, and people do get hurt, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into making that show happen. So part of it is real, part of it is fake, and that's how I've always looked at Lolcow Live. I know not all of it is real. I know some of it is fake. I know that it's more along the lines of a Jersey Shore than an actual real internet show, I guess. But I mean, everything you're watching on the internet, whether it be some of these like vlogs or whatever, they are made, there's a way that they're made that's going to be a little inauthentic in a way. Everything you're watching is kind of a performance based thing, otherwise they're not going to get popular. So you have to know that this is an entertainment industry, this is what it's done. So I've always seen it as kind of an entertainment show, and I knew what I was getting into. But I did see some crazy stuff go down on Twitter about, I don't know the behind the scenes or anything. I just saw that Wings of Redemption laid his wife out, just like straight up WWE style, through a table. And I knew instantly. Sorry about burping there. Like the Coke bubbled up and then popped. It happens, dude. What are you gonna do? Crucify me? But I saw that happen. I knew I needed to do more, and I knew my audience needed it too. So let's get right into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Wings of Redemption, real name Jordy Jordan, and Wings is somebody who has spent his entire life getting pissed off at games like Call of Duty live on stream for the entire world to see. And of course, if you're seeing him on this channel, you can imagine this guy's had a pretty unsavory past as well. Wings is somebody who has previously stated that he believes the age of consent should be lowered by 6 years. You do the math.
12.
There's also many clips of...
Again, I think a lot of these clips were pulled out of context. I think it was cringy when he said that. I absolutely. It's also hilarious because at that time it was a much edgier YouTube, so it was meant to be a joke. Him doubling down on it, though, that was cringe, dude. That was made him look like an ass. But a lot of the stuff from PKA, like that time period, it was just like stuff to be funny. So I don't think that should be held against him. It does get like stacked on top of him because of his Lolcow status. And I think if it was like anybody else just making jokes, they would get a pass. But he doesn't because he's a Lolcow. That type of stuff never really bothered me. I'm like, dude, being edgy 15 years ago when the goal markers have changed. It's like when they cancel a celebrity over a tweet they made 15 years ago. I just don't care.
him online that show him to be somebody who treats animals horribly.
I just watched a video, Kittens and Caboodles, and it told me kittens always land on their feet. So I took this cat and I kept throwing him up to see if he'd land on his feet. Well, eventually the cat broke its...
Oh my gosh. You guys ever put a dog to sleep?
Yes.
Yeah? How did you choose the time?
Rifle. Shit, you're gonna pay $70 for...
Okay, so what I'm gonna say something a little controversial here. A lot of people in the country put their dog down by shooting him. I know it's not legal, but that's just something country people do. Like, if you don't want to hear that, that's fine. But a lot of people who live in rural areas know that their dog's sick, know that their dog's dying, go out and shoot it and bury it. It's just how things work, bro. Welcome to the world. It's not, I don't consider that like animal abuse. If the dog's dying, you're going to take it in, give it a shot, or you're just going to take it out and shoot it. I mean, the same thing's happening at the end of the day. The exact same process is happening. Would I shoot it? I don't think so. But it's at the perspective is the same to me. The end all result, 1 + 2 is gonna equal fucking 3, and they're gonna bury it at the end of the day. So I don't see a problem as much as like I don't see this as like that controversial, especially when I grew up in an area where this was like the normal fucking thing to do. This is what people did.
For a $2 bullet.
I wonder if you think about the dog in the same way that I do. You don't go in the back of your subdivision by the swing set where 5 neighbors can see your yard and start killing your dog.
No, you take him to the swamp. You live in North Carolina.
See, this is when you live in a rural area, you take him out in the hills, you take him to the swamp, you shoot him, you bury him, and it's sad. That's it's not, this isn't crazy, but like the subdivision, this is where people will twist something like this up into like an emotional play, right? They'll turn it into this emotional thing where it's like, oh yeah, because in their head they live in a fucking suburb that is like nice. They don't think about how they can go out in the hills or anything. They don't do anything like that. They live a nice city lifestyle. That perspective is not the same. You grew up shooting squirrels and shit. Your dog was always there with you. He was your best friend, and now you're gonna let him go out and run in the woods one last time, and you're gonna put him down. I mean, it's better than being surrounded by a bunch of fucking doctors who the dog has never seen in a place the dog hates. At least it gets to run around, have a little fun in a place that it spends most of its time anyway. That's the way it was explained to me. That's the way I've always seen that. I think it's like, if you love your dog, you're like, oh, dude, I'm gonna go cook it a bunch of fucking bacon. I'm gonna fucking let it run around, chase. Like, it's not running around because it's fucking basically dead at that point. I'm gonna let it just like hang out in the fresh air, and I'm going to dig the hole, I'm going to put it in the hole, and I'm going to shoot it. I like, is this dark? Absolutely. But I don't think this is like, wouldn't hold this against Wings. This is normal perspective. This is normal perspective in a country, say, part of the world. Now, I know a lot of you people who are watching me in the, like, from a city thinking this is so disgusting. I'm sorry, bro. Welcome to the real fucking world.
There's swamps in North Carolina. I guarantee it. There's one called Hunting Swamp. It's about 6 miles from here. There's a bridge. You go there.
By the way, I personally don't think you should do this. I'm going to say that right now. I personally do not think you should do this because, one, it is very illegal, right? So it is very illegal to do this. And I'm not saying who I've known that has done this. I'm not saying, I've heard, mostly it was like in passing, and it was just such a like normalized thing in small towns that I never thought about it until I found out it was illegal. Also, like, just don't go to jail for something like this. Just take your dog to the vet. Like, pay the money, or just let it die naturally. Those are your options. I mean, the shooting thing is definitely illegal now.
You let them out, you shoot them, let them draw right out into the swamp.
Okay, so that's a dark perspective. I'm gonna disagree with Wings here. If I personally was ever going to do something like this, which I'm not going to ever do something like this, I'd make it like the greatest last day of that dog's life or whatever. I would make it the greatest fucking day of that last animal's life, and I would make sure that I would make it a little fucking tombstone, like, or like one of the cross things with the fucking sticks, and I would bury it. It would be buried. It would be a real sweet thing. I would not just fucking like, get the fuck out of here, and then kick it into the swamp hoping a gator eats it or some shit. That just seems cruel to me.
And then you let him, just fall into the swamp?
Fall into the swamp.
Yeah, I'm not doing it that way.
But something
dude, that I was so in on defending Jordy there, and then he just went in the fucking wrong direction, my dog. Like, I pulled in some perspective from more of a country area. I had your back. I understood where he was coming from. And then just kicking it into the fucking swamp, man, what did it mean? Nothing to you? Like, dude, bury it. A little bit of ceremony here isn't a bad thing.
Mentioned at the beginning of the video is going to tie into what we're seeing today in a major way, because while Jordy used to get really mad at trolls on Call of Duty and freak out and break his equipment, now he's getting really mad at the people in his real life, because just last night Wings was live with Boogie2988, his wife, a bunch of other people, and they were all attending Keemstar's Fat Camp, because Keem is running some streams where Boogie and Wings are trying to lose weight. I can imagine it's not going very well just by looking at them. But in the clip you're about to see today, Wings is sitting there next to Keemstar, and Wings just looks miserable. Now, that's not anything out of the ordinary. If you ever click on a Wings of Redemption stream, he is always looking like he's just completely void of life. He doesn't want to be there. And I mean, shit, you can go back like 10, 15 years and find tons of videos of Wings having the worst attitude about being a content creator. Even from day one, it seemed like he didn't really want to be doing this. He just knew.
Dude, Wings, that's my biggest problem with Wings, is he doesn't seem to want to put in the 1% of effort he needs to pull him in a better direction. And it's sad to me because I gave him a lot of credit after he fought Boogie in the ring and they started Lolcow live. This was all beneficial, but he just does not seem to care. He's miserable. He knows that he's not going to be good at anything else. So he is constantly just sad I'm the victim. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. What's funny is Wings used to have like a very like conservative mentality where it's like pull yourself up from your bootstraps. When he was on top of the world at Call of Duty, he was like, yeah, dude, it's like fuck you guys, you're just being lazy, you're being fucking. And he had all this mentality about it, and then as soon as he fell from that fucking giant mountain peak, everyone in his mind was against him. And does Wings have to deal with a lot because of his trolls and shit? Absolutely. But being a pussy about it all the time is only going to feed them more, and being like sad on yourself like this is only going to feed them more. And if you would take the little bit of initiative to push yourself forward, none of this would be a problem. If you took these controversies, spun them into a success, you could be making so much money. The moment the controller thing happened, you should have been selling fucking controllers that are selling controllers, or selling fucking t-shirts that said I broke my controller. When people brought up the clip about the dog thing, just say take him behind. Have a shirt that says take him behind the barn. Now you might say, oh, that's gross. I don't give a fuck, dude. Make your bag, bro. He had so many clippable moments, so much crazy shit. He could have been selling t-shirts. He could have been making money, but instead he's sad playing Call of Duty on his fucking gaming chair with no ambition to do any better. He doesn't even clip up his own streams to post them on his YouTube channel. That's how fucking lazy this guy is. I took the simple idea that when I saw other people out there just clipping their streams like crazy and posting them on YouTube, I said, yes, I can do that. I can fucking do that. And I started doing it. I stopped fucking, thinking, oh, well, why aren't people watching my reviews? Oh, this review didn't do well. Well, maybe next week. And I said, fuck this shit. I'm going to grab initiative by the balls, and I'm going to start putting content out. I'm going to make thumbnails. I'm going to make the tags. I'm going to fucking clip every stream. I'm gonna upload them 2 a day. I'm going to grind. I want this to work. I have the ambition, I have the drive to keep this shit going. And when I see one avenue's already set, figured out, I'm like, okay, how can I bring more buzz? So I start another thing, and I just keep pushing forward. And Wings is the type of person that's only existing now because he's the guy to be made fun of, because he's the fat, angry guy on the internet. And it's sad, but once you take that victim approach to it, you have nowhere else to go.
It would get him a good paycheck. And that has never been more true than it is in modern day, considering he agreed to go on Keemstar's Lolcow show with Boogie. They do it every week, and Wings, do you really think he wants to be on a show where he has to be labeled as a Lolcow? This is something he fought against the trolls with for years, saying, don't be treating me like that, man, I'm not no fucking Lolcow. Well, now, for a certain amount of money, you bet your ass he is.
Well, and that's fine, dude. This is why I gave him respect. 100% why I gave him respect, because he was finally able to like relish in the fact that he was a fucking Lolcow. And it was funny because I remember when the Boogie faked cancer thing popped up, and it was like a whole arc on Lolcow Live, and I was hooked, dude. I was hooked. He got the tattoo on his face. Destiny was calling him out. I was like, this is fucking awesome. I am so sold in on this, because like I thought it was more beneficial because they were talking about firing him all the time, which I know that was just part of a ploy to keep things interesting. But at the same time, I was looking at it like, damn, dude, this is hella smart. They are sitting here relishing in the fact that he's a Lolcow, while also saying that he might have stepped too far, which makes him more of a Lolcow, which promotes the show even more. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is entertaining as shit. And it's like, if this ends up being like the whole thing about him pushing his wife down just for entertainment, I think the backlash would fall on Keem, to the point that Keem doesn't want any part of that. If I was Keem, I would. Abuse is a lot worse than faking cancer. I'm fucking sorry, it is. So I think this is a moment where it goes too far, and I think that this is the thing where they would have to cut Wings out of the situation, and he's fucked. He's back to just crying online on his fucking streams endlessly and not making money, because like he finally admitted what he was. He was finally putting himself in a better position of growing, but he still was the big sad boy all the time, and all that does is lead to you getting angry, and this was an eventuality of happening.
So Wings gets up on that show, and again, just a complete ball of just misery and sadness every time I see him on screen. And all of that seemingly culminated in the clip you're about to see here, because he's sitting on the couch next to Keemstar, and then out of nowhere, a fight breaks out. Now, before we get into anything else, I know I'm talking a bit, but I just want to say, this is probably staged. They probably went over this beforehand and were like, hey, Wings, get into a big fight with Keem. Let's, push him around a little bit. And then eventually your wife will come into the picture. And I mean, why would I not think that? This is the same show that had Boogie fake cancer. Like what do you expect? It's to get more reach, to get more, viral.
Well, to be fair, Boogie faked cancer way before the show ever happened. So what I think actually happened with the fake cancer thing is I think that they already started the seed. I think Destiny probably reached out there to Keem. Keem played the I don't know, man. Oh, I'm Keemstar. I'm just sitting here. I'm just the bald gnome in the corner. I have no idea what's going on. Whoa, dude, I can't see the whole time. And then he pulled it out as it was gonna be either way, for Keem, this was going to be a massive win. He gets to fucking troll on Destiny for being wrong, right? He gets to fucking make Destiny look like an asshole, which Keem doesn't like Destiny. Or it was going to be a fucking win for Keem because he could do an entire arc of Boogie faking cancer. And basically guilt-tripping Boogie, making him look like an asshole. So that's where I think that a lot of people say that it's 100% staged, and I think it's more like WWE, where it's like we have an initial... Keem has this initial plan, this fucking goofy little idea, and he's like, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to see how this turns out. And he's basically just putting the fire underneath he's lighting the stovetop to cook. That's all I feel like this is. It's like, here's the initial idea. We're going to run with this, and I'm going to see how the dominoes fall type shit. Because that's how wrestling ends up. Yeah, they have an end goal. They have what's going to happen. They know the moves that are going to be done around. But, some of the injuries and shit are scripted, and Boogie just happened to be one of the injuries. So I could totally see from this perspective where they're like, you're going to get an argument, Keem was like, I'm going to push his buttons. We're going to turn it into an argument. It'll be a big blowout on camera where we're yelling at each other. And I think Wings, thinking he's the big bad man, decided to start making things a little violent. And I think it just got out of control. I mean, and if they did plan on it being a fight, I don't think it was ever supposed to hit the point that it did.
Clicks, and trust me, it will. This video's getting made at the end of the day, isn't it? But why would Wings agree to do this? That's the question I want to pose going in.
And again, I don't think he agreed to fighting Keem. I think the plan was they were going to disagree on something, and then Keem took it a little too far and caused Wings to get way more riled up than he should be.
This. If it's real, Wings is a piece of shit. If it's fake, why would you give your trolls so much ammo? And why would you agree to put your hands on your wife the way you did? So no matter what way you look at this, just know it's going to end with Wings looking not only like a complete ass, but also...
Well, and this is something I have to say again. I don't think Keemstar would put his reputation on the line that much. Now, I'm not saying Keemstar's the greatest or the best or the most genius. I do think his reputation, even though people already hate Keemstar a lot, I don't think he's willing to absolutely obliterate his reputation for throwing a woman on stream. Cutting a chick's hair for being whiny, absolutely, he would definitely do that, and that's why they did it. Doing shit like that, yeah, but actually assaulting a woman, I don't think was his end-all be-all idea.
An abuser.
Fly down and scout the place and check out stuff you know what I mean? I don't have time for that. I gotta do a show every
Here's a
fucking
mistake
day.
that you made. Here's a mistake that you made. A $32,000 mistake. If we did this in April, we could have done this at Lord Rush's place for free with gigabyte internet. But you wanted it faster.
$355. All those waters.
Here's a mistake that you made.
What's that?
You think I'm gonna forgive you for this?
I don't give a fuck.
You say that.
I say
I
that.
promise you will.
Now, let's say this is real, right? And Wings is just a really fidgety, angry man because he's going through fat camp right now. He's not being allowed his daily allotted Pepsi and chili, and he's just very moody. But, like, if this is an argument over logistics and how much it would cost to do this at a different time, like the business aspects of everything, well, I'm just gonna say that if it comes down to Wings and Keemstar and you have to pick one to, like, plan an event, I'm gonna go with Keem.
Yeah, dude, Keemstar literally fucking engineered this entire thing, and it's been a massive success for everybody involved. Now, the other things he tried to plan, like the Lolcow women and, like, the Lolcow tech guys, it's all cringe, it's all bad. I didn't even fucking, like, once it started becoming the Lolcow multiverse, I just fucking didn't care. I mean, like, I could have seen, like, this turning into fucking Jersey Shore right away, and I was like, wow, dude, that could be cool, but I don't know.
Keemstar, probably. It's not like Keem's this master showrunner. It's just the fact that Wings would be terrible at it. If you let Wings run the show, you guys would be sitting on your computers playing Rainbow Six Siege all night.
Sabotage the brand, sabotage.
I'm not sabotaging the brand for a lie that you made.
Yeah.
I'm not sabotaging the brand.
You are.
You creating a lie sabotaging the brand.
And you're even calling it a lie. You know?
It's a fucking lie.
You're even calling it a lie.
Dude, look at fucking Boogie over there, just like, I'm keeping my fucking mouth shut so that I don't lose my job because this is the only money I have.
This is not a fucking
You're
lie.
calling it a fucking
What
lie.
part of it's not a fucking lie? Tell me which part of it.
It's not a
Look
lie.
right
It
there.
was a setup.
That's not a setup. It's a fucking lie.
And why are you getting loud in my face?
Because I fucking can.
Dude, are you fucking... Are you fucking serious? You better stop. Hey, you better stop.
his belly, the only thing you can see is his fucking rolls sticking out behind whatever this fucking light thing is. Bro. And fucking bald. Keemstar all being like all fucking Lex Luthered out over here, dog. Let's go. See, this is great. This is where the content's glorious.
You better stop. Wait, you better...
Dude, this is why I enjoyed the show. This right here, this chaos that gets brought, I enjoy the chaos, and like I said, dude, this is fun. This is that Jersey Shore fucking reality TV fun. This is fucking those people that watch America's Got Talent every year. This is why I watched the show, was this chaos right here, and this is the shit I enjoy, and I think that they were doing so well in it. But when you have chaos like this, eventually shit's gonna go too far, and I think that's what happened here.
So far, and I will just give my full honest opinion here based off of the evidence that is in front of me. This seems like it is Andy Ditch levels of fake. Like, I don't have any proof of that, obviously, but I watch enough wrestling to...
Yeah, well, and here's the thing, like, I think that maybe the argument was 100% planned, but I think that Wings doesn't know how to play it off well enough to cause this shit. I think that Keem had the plan. He knew that this would rile Wings up. He was poking the bear because in his mind, he has this glorious moment that he can post on Drama Alert, his Twitter, Lolcow Live. He knew that he could get him riled up, screaming like an idiot. And I think that he poked the bear too many times, and it's like there was a wrestler, Mick Foley, right? And I know most of my wrestling stuff from like fucking shorts and shit when I end up down rabbit holes. But he fell through this cage and his tooth went up through his nose. Now that cage was never supposed to break. They were never supposed to go through the cage, but it was thrown together shoddily and shit happens. And I think that's more what happened here. It was an initial plan to get to get Wings riled up, and he fell through the fucking cage.
To know it, like, this is a classic standard wrestling pull-apart brawl. Like, there's numerous reasons why I feel like this is fake, and there's a few I think it could be real, such as Keemstar losing his hat, and like, you don't see that every day. Wings' belly was also in view, but I'll just say this. Had this big bastard started charging at me, I'd have wailed on him. Like, why were no punches thrown?
Well, the moment you start throwing punches, it starts to turn into assault. So right here, you got to push a friendly shoving match where both people can walk away, whine about it, and how they're both the winners in the scenario, right? How they both said their piece. There was nobody actually like, you could still say that like one could say that well he was assault, well he pushed back. It's a back and forth argument pushing contest. So nobody's gonna like go out here and actually press charges and be like, oh dude, he assaulted me, blah blah blah. It's stupid, it's cringe, it's gay. But if you actually start throwing punches, like if Keem would have decked Boogie right, or not Boogie, decked Wings right here, it would have Wings is a bitch enough, he would have claimed assault, which like, so if you want to like, that's in the terms of, oh, if this was real, I understand why I wouldn't throw a punch. Like, unless he went to throw a punch first, like, I would just, like, I'd hit him back with the push, I would fucking get him away from me, and I would do everything I can not to throw that punch, because the moment that punch is thrown, it becomes a lot bigger lawsuit, a lot bigger charges that get added into your thing, and I don't think anybody wants that.
And that's the biggest thing about it. Maybe you're like, they're friends, they're business partners, they're not going to actually hit each other. I don't know about that, man. I've seen my friends get into fights, and it's never like, oh, I'm gonna push you, and I want to put my hand in your face. Like, maybe it's just a normal little...
Again, this is somebody who's incredibly media trained. Keemstar's been doing this forever, and he knows the moment he decks fucking Wings, he's the bad guy in this situation, and right here he can play as the good guy, and Keem always wants to be the good guy.
Hustle, and neither of these guys were really about throwing punches. They weren't trying to hurt each other. I'm just trying to make sense of this, because Wings seems very, very agitated. Keemstar seems like he's had enough. They get up, they kind of go chest to chest in very slow motion here, and I mean, like, there's one push, there's another. I will say Wings putting his hand like directly in Keemstar's face does make me go, maybe that's true.
Yeah, and Captain Bald doesn't like being Captain Bald, bro. He always wearing a hat, always wearing a do-rag, always wearing a bandana, everything he can to cover the fact that he's bald as fuck.
They get a little bit of like a off-kiltered, oh, you're not supposed to see this camera view. The camera cuts, and when it comes back, you can just hear what's going on in the background. And this is just all to set up what's really about to go down soon. Because this fight between Keem and Boogie, like, again, we're just...
I don't know who this guy is. I think he was on Lolcow Live once. But dear God, bro, built like a cupcake. He's like a cupcake standing on two toothpicks, bro. Dear God, bro.
Determining here whether it's fake or not, but what happens later, whether staged or not, will make Wings look so much worse than he does right now. So things die down for a couple of minutes, right? Wings is nowhere to be found, neither is Keemstar, and Boogie's like showing off that he got a really good angle of the fight on his phone, only pushing that this is more for views than it is anything else. However, in the modern day, anytime there's a fight, the guy who gets the best angle is going to be showing that off, so can't really blame him for that. But I imagine right now, wherever Wings is at, he's probably giving his wife a pep talk. He's saying, Kelly, you're gonna do so good taking that bump. And by bump, for wrestling fans, that means getting dropped. For party goers, that means something else. But Kelly, I want these views so bad. I want them so fucking bad. But yeah, I'm gonna finally spoil it. Wings does push his wife to the ground. She lands on like this table. It's not like a theatrical wrestling thing where like he picks her up, puts her through a table or nothing. He shoves her to the ground. She lands on this like I guess it's a table. I don't really know what it is. But no matter if this is fake or if it is real, you are now somebody who is on camera putting his hands on his wife. You can quote me on this, because if I ever find myself in this situation, I want you guys to call me out on it.
Yeah, dude, there's never gonna be a time for any content. I love content. I am a content gooner. I fucking love this shit. I love the drama. I love eating it up, but you will never catch me like, oh, dude, look at my, oh, dude, if I threw you through this table, bro, and it, people think it's live, it'll be pretty cool, dude. It'll get us a lot of clicks, bro. Nah, dude, I just don't see this this is where I start to go, this might not be, or this is more real than I think that a lot of people think it is. And I think that there is no winning optically with that move. I don't think there's an optical win with this, and that's something that's that's important. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, we're making them look like idiots, ha ha ha. Like, look at this, we're throwing water balloons, this, that. We're gonna send them to a Trump rally, blah blah blah. That, it's like, those all optically even if the main characters get hurt, it's not them going after somebody else, and there's nobody involved that wins after this. Like, there's no winning other than if you fire him. It's like, oh, then we can let Wings go and we give him a fuckload of money and that will be his golden parachute. But then he has to deal with the trolls forever. And I just don't see Wings signing up for that. I think that this just blew up out of proportion, or this went way past what it should have been. And I think that's what happened. I think it just got out of hand.
Couldn't pay me $1 amount to be like, hey, Miss Smokey, I'm about to throw you on the ground. Like, you might get hurt and all, but, like, really, we need these views. Like, you know, I wanted them so fucking bad. You know, I want these views so bad. I want this clout. I want to have, like, you know, more views on our podcast. I just couldn't imagine that. So, I'm just going to go off the fact that this is real, because I can't imagine that Wings agreed to be now known as, like, this abusive husband on the internet, because that's what he's now.
Okay, we agree on that. I was kind of worried about the fact that he thought that this was all going to be staged, and I just don't see a reality in which that's happening. I don't think Keemstar would sign off for it. I don't think anybody would sign off for this. This isn't worth the clicks. Now, after it happens, yeah, you put it out, say, yeah, we have no other option but to fire Wings, which is what I saw on Twitter. It's one of those things that it's like, what else do you do? You know, what else? Like, there is no route that this is where I see that this is fake.
Now going to be known as. Like, don't get it twisted. His trolls have always been at his neck, but now they have good reason to yet again. And I'd imagine that Wings knows this. For years he was so against doing, like, even the Lolcow show because it would give his trolls more ammo. So I imagine if it is faked, it's because Keem threw some ridiculous dollar amount for him to now be the bad guy of the show, because Boogie had his whole situation last summer. You can't do it with him again, so now it's your turn, Wings. Again, I'm just looking for reasons why this would be faked, but at the end of the day, I can't believe Wings would put himself in this situation where now all he's ever going to be known as is the guy who threw his wife down on that stream that one time.
Dude, that's bullshit.
That's insane.
That is such bullshit. What even set him off?
And he's getting loud in my face, so I got in his face. I'm like, are you serious? And then he started pushing me. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna swing. You keep doing that. And he went to go grab me like this.
Yeah.
I do like the fucking imaginary Superman story that Keem starts to tell right here. Like, he didn't say I'm gonna swing. He was just like, what are you gonna do? And in his mind, he's like, he comes back and just starts ingratiating the story to the nth degree, where he's Superman Keem, where he's like, yeah, dude, I'm such a badass. It's just so fucking funny, dude. This is so great.
Like, that's where this came.
Retro super chatted $20.
And I kept saying, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you.
I'm glad.
And then he wouldn't fucking. And then somehow it got broken up or whatever. He goes, I'm not bitch made. You think I am?
So Keemstar's trying to explain what happened in the fight, and really his whole explanation is it was all a blur. It all happened so fast, and you know, he said he's not bitch made. You think I'm bitch made? I mean, neither of you guys threw a punch. You just kind of pushed at each other. It was like a sumo match that Wings vastly outweighed you in. Keem makes sure to show off that bright red scratch mark he's got on his neck, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that was real. This wasn't like a full-on fight. It was more of a shoving match, and I wouldn't be too shocked to know that Wingo was clawing at people. He seems like someone who will just scratch and claw, which, you know, he said he's not bitch made, but there's really nothing more bitch made than getting into a fight and just, you know, scratching at your opponent, clawing at them like a big cat. And before you know it, he comes charging in like a fucking wildebeest, and shit hits the fan.
Now, I'm going to give you what I think happened here. Is I think he thought this fat fuck right here, I think he thought that fat fuck was the one who was actually holding on to him. I think he knew his wife was behind him, and he thought that it was this fucking guy holding on to him, and he knew that he could shove this bitch over and get him out of his way. And I don't actually think that he planned to shove Kelly. I think he planned to shove one of these guys, and it got way out of control. If we're going on the idea that, oh, this was all planned, these people were holding him back, I still don't see it being planned. I think he got pissed, said, okay, I'm going to do this. And even if he said it would be good for content, I think he knew these fuckers would hold him back, and he would shove one of these guys down or out of his way, and he would get past them and blow up in Keem's face again. And I think that when he shoved, he thought it was this fat fuck, and it was his wife instead. That's my breakdown. That's my play-by-play of what actually happened. That's what I think, anyways.
So let's look at this again in slow motion, and you...
Or this guy. I think maybe he didn't know who was in front of him in like anger. That's like really like toward Wings. Otherwise, you're just a piece of shit, dog, who threw your fucking wife down, dude. And you should, like, your days on the internet are fucking cooked.
Tell me, is there any other way to chalk this up other than Wings throwing his wife to the...
She bounced so fucking hard, dog. There's, like, I just don't see this as being staged. I think he just fucking lost it and thought one of these other guys were holding it, and he just shoved fucking blindly, angrily, and realized later what he'd done.
The ground. In the hours since this has happened, Kelly has claimed that she tripped, and Wings keeps saying, oh, it was a mistake, I didn't actually push her down, she slipped. Like, you can't be serious when it's that cut and dry on camera. There's nothing you can say about it. I get, right, that they may have chalked this up and been like, Wings, push her down. There will be something there to break her fall. Not really. Not really. There was no give to that shit at all. But so it's like, what is this? If this was staged, why is Wings like, yeah, man, it's cool. The whole internet can call me an abuser, because we are. We absolutely are. And if this is real, then you're just straight up an abuser. Like, why would you put your hands on your wife, even for content purposes? This isn't like some, oh, man.
There's literally no win to this. Absolutely whatsoever. There's no win. This is optically looks so fucking bad.
This is crazy. I can't wait to see what happens next. This is alright, dude, can we just ban this guy? And I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure Keemstar said he won't be on the show anymore, although that, my friends, we'll have to see to believe. But I don't know about you guys. I can already see it now. Give it a couple weeks, a couple months, Wings will be doing his stream, getting super chats saying, dude, you put your hands on your wife, you're a scumbag, and he'll be like, man, don't you know anything about, like, you know, scripting and, like, how we do shows? Like, of course, man, she knew I was going to put my hands on her. Like, stop trying to make this something that's not. I can see him now trying to pretend like this is no big deal somewhere down the line. But if everything they're saying is to be believed, which, again, take it with a massive grain of salt, Wings is gone from the show. Keemstar's all shaken up because he did not see this coming. He did not expect Wings to charge at him like this, let alone then turn his anger to his own wife. So, yeah, I'm a bit conflicted on...
Wait, I mean, right here, we do see that after watching second clip of Wings slapping and grabbing Kelly's arm on the way to Fat Camp, we have made the decision to terminate our relationship with Wings of Redemption. And, of course, then he does the Keem thing where he fucking... yell, it's a lie, then choose two characters on the field. Both characters deal damage to each other, or to each other equal to their attack power. Oh my god, boss fight cards, bro. This is, like, of course he's fucking milking the shit out of this. Dear god, welcome to Keemstar, dude. I mean, that's what he's been doing since his early days on YouTube. Just find a drama, talk about the drama, fucking milk the shit out of the drama, and he's got some fat fucking cows here to milk
on this, but like I'm 99% sure this is all something they drummed up. Of course, now you see Wings looking at his wife, telling her to downplay it. Other women are running in, being like, get off of her. And I can understand...
I don't know who this chick is, but she's a baddie.
Why they'd be upset if this was real. Like, you just saw Wings push his wife to the ground, who, may I add, by the way, Wings' wife, Kelly, has gone through major weight loss. So good on her, but I mean, why would you stay with this guy after that?
Is
Again,
Wings of Redemption.
Even if it's staged, this is your husband coming to you and saying, hey, you know, can I harm you on camera just so we can get some extra clicks? Hey, can I throw you to the ground so that Twitter talks about me more? And again, what does he think he's going to get out of this? Is it the all publicity is good publicity method where it's like, well, at least we get a ton more viewers now. All people going to call Wings a piece of shit when it's like Wings.
Well, and another thing about this, dude, here's another perspective I have where I don't think that this is, like Keemstar's grand plan to have Wings throw his wife, because he's not really doing a whole lot else. He's got people running the Drama Alert Twitter, right? He does his, I think he still does Drama Alert on Snapchat, which he got paid a fuckload of money to do it. But he's been saying he's going to bring Drama Alert back to YouTube forever, and he has yet to do that. He is yet to make another YouTube video. I mean, I look at, like, maybe he is doing, like, I don't know, dude. It's, I'm not seeing him post that frequently. It all seems to be old stuff. You look at his videos, right? I look at his videos on Drama Alert, and the last one was a year ago. I don't know when this short was made. Let's check it out right now.
Kai Cenat was surprised.
This kid is going.
Kai Cenat was surprised with the zebra.
When was this? Like, I don't. 11 days ago. So I guess they're posting shorts.
Kai Cenat was.
They just don't post long form anymore. So I guess they moved shorts back. I guess they launched that again. So maybe he's overseeing that. But to be real, I think this is his big, one of his biggest projects, because he had that fucking alien thing where he launched this like weird alien information website. It was supposed to be like Alien Drama Alert, and it fucking flopped. I mean, he just seems, it seems like he's full in on this fucking Lolcow universe because it's making him a fuckload of money, which I think everyone knew from the moment that he had the idea for him, or for DSP, Wings, and Boogie to be on a show. He knew this was going to be a money-making genius. And when DSP pulled out and he realized he could get Wings and Boogie to box, I mean, he's been full in on this shit, and I don't see him jeopardizing it to this degree, because again, after this moment, there is no keeping Wings on the show and still having good faith from any audience. Like, Keem already gets a lot of hate. He gets like tons and tons of hate on the internet, but he would be fucking crucified if he didn't fire him. And like Wings did, like, I could see them doing an arc where months down the line they have it where he goes to counseling. It's a whole counseling arc that's way down the line. He figures himself out. He comes back and he's the new Wings. And we're bringing Wings back. Wings has gone through counseling. He's done all this stuff on his own dime, or I paid for him to do it. If they do a whole arc, they could eventually spin this. But as of right now, there's no other option but to fire him.
Has been trying to fight against this for years, that he's not a bad guy, the trolls need to knock it off, and now it's only going to get exponentially worse, and he can blame nobody but himself, because what did we just see on camera? Wings throwing his wife to the ground. There she is. There's Kelly right there. She does not look too happy with this.
Well, I mean, if you go back a second and look at Wings' face, you could tell he's fucking lost. He knows he did something wrong. He's watching his fucking career currently implode, and all the goodwill he got back from the whole trolls, because I'm sure that since his Lolcow Live thing has came out, I'm sure that his troll intake has been a lot better, and he's kind of gotten some goodwill because it's a funny show, and they have instant content to just clip and make fun of, and now he's realizing he just fucked all of that up. There's no way to win in this.
And he can blame.
I just don't think he can fake that. I don't think he's got the acting chops to do it.
Nobody but himself, because what did we just see on camera? Wings throwing his wife to the ground. There she is. There's Kelly right there. She does not look too happy with this, but of course, I don't know. I don't know. No matter which way you cut it, this is awful. If it's real, Wings has just straight up thrown his wife to the ground, and if he's doing it live here on camera, I'd hate to know what happens off the camera. And if it's scripted, Wings, what is wrong with you? Why would you go through with this? Because now there's footage of you out there putting your hands on your wife, and it's just, it's exactly what people always accuse you of, Wings, being a complete...
I love Boogie's face, just like, this is I just lost my fucking co-host. This is trash.
Utter piece of shit. This was a long-ass stream that they were doing, so I don't know where exactly this happened in, like, the many hours they were live, but this edit right here was found over on Breaking Banquet's channel, and that will be found in the link in the description below. Dude makes awesome content on Wings, and if you want to know more about this guy, I suggest going over there to check it out. But But like, this was happening all day yesterday on this stream. Wings at some point, you know, of course, put his hands on his wife. Boogie had a major health complication at one moment and fell asleep while they were watching a movie. They played that up like he almost died, but again, here he is, fine and well, so I can imagine that wasn't that big of a deal. Boogie himself had a bit of another freak out, but anytime he freaks out, it's again, like, it reminds you of
dude, the Boogie freakouts, he plays it up so fucking hard that it just feels unbelievable, because you could tell that he knows that it's content because he's been making content like Francis for years, that he knows that he can get the clippable moments, and he knows how to manipulate it to make that shit, because the dude's been manipulating everybody for his entire time on YouTube. So this dude knows how to fucking make this this money run. He knows how to make this shit work in his favor, and I don't think that Wings is smart. Like, not he's not dumb. I'm not saying Wings is fucking retarded. I mean, he is retarded, but in a different kind of way. I just don't think that Wings has the ability to play it up. And if he did have this idea where he was going to rush in, and he's like, oh, it would be so good for content if I rushed in, I think that he didn't think about the working stuff. And if he did plan this out, I don't think he planned it going this way. I think he thought that he could jump back in there, get another clippable moment. He could be the big, they could have the big drama around him for a while. It could be all on Wings instead of watching Boogie's downfall, and it would make for good content. I don't think he saw it playing out this way.
Fake cancer thing. You remember the Tipples freak out from last summer? Well, that was when he got exposed for faking cancer, and he went on that long, bombastic, really just over-the-top freak out that now, when you look back on it, looks staged as fuck. So, with this going on, I don't know. I don't know what the outcome was supposed to be. If they really didn't see this happening and this was all legit and off the cuff, then, you know, Wings, it's just on Wings. Wings is the one who looks like the biggest piece of shit here. And again, I mean, even if it isn't staged, Wings still looks like the worst person in the room. It would just make no sense why anyone there would think this was a good idea to go through with. But let me know what you guys think.
I mean, I think the whole situation is crazy. I want to check out Breaking Banquet to see what we have. Ooh, one day ago, the plot thickens. Let's get into this real quick. See what I want to see, like the newest what's going on with this, because we know the fight happened. We know the shit went crazy. I mean, let's jump into
to get started.
We're gonna jump into where the fight happened. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna get the actual breakdown of the argument and the fight. I think that it's important context.
What are you doing?
You're crashing out.
I'm not crashing out. You're just making a lie up to make yourself look stronger. Here's a mistake that you made. You creating a lie sabotaging. Right there.
Why are you getting?
We met her halfway.
If you think that we're gonna step away from this, and you think like, oh yeah, I made a mistake, or Boogie's gonna be like, oh, Boogie made a mistake, or anyone here, no. I mean, you can agree with.
The way you're crafting it makes it look like she just showed up and you're looking like, oh, the savior to her, instead of her coming to you begging and crying and doing all this.
The only difference.
Well, she did the begging there, but she also did the begging behind the scenes.
She begged for like 4 days, and we gave in, and we go, what will it take to get you here? And she threw a number out. We met her halfway.
If you think that we're gonna step away from this, and you think like, oh yeah, I made a mistake, or Boogie's gonna be like, oh, Boogie made a mistake, or anyone here.
Somebody on Discord said reality TV doesn't try to claim it's real.
But the one
they call it reality TV.
But the one we made up isn't far from what actually. Because I know I'm up because of the breakfast. Because it's really controversy. Yeah, because it's a big controversy. Everyone's been exposed as fake, and they all want their word.
No way, nothing you got exposed as fake.
Stop ruining the magic wings. You're biting the only hand that will ever feed you.
Wings is the type to go to a magic show and be like, "That's how they're doing it right there, pimp." You know.
Yeah, I'll give the prestige away.
Get a scale. I want to weigh in.
Okay, what?
It's on the table, I think.
Whoa! You pee first, because I know I'm up because of the breakfast.
Well, I'm gonna.
Never again.
Something.
I'm trying to get to where the actual argument comes out to where they start the fight. And I was trying to get a little pretext, and it seems like they were talking about that Becky Boo bitch and like all the shit that went on with her, which I don't care about any of that. It seems like that was all like well, let's see how upset she gets and how we can make this so it's more entertaining. That shit all seemed pretty staged. That's straight up wrestling bullshit right there. That was reality TV bullshit. But I want to get to where this pops off.
So we're gonna sit here in silence? You gonna say something?
I'm not telling you anything ever again.
Fine by me.
And what I'm getting here is Wings started talking about some of the shit that happened behind the scenes, some of the stuff that was going down. Keemstar figured out a way to milk it up, and then Boogie was like, or not, Wings was like, oh, well, I'm going to tell everybody some of the behind the scenes conversation, which makes everybody look like assholes and makes the whole thing... This is the problem with Wings, is I don't think he was ever on board with the idea of how to make the show successful. Because if it was just these fucking boring-ass fat people talking like it was at the beginning, I don't think it would have been entertaining. It wouldn't have popped off. The thing that makes this show great is it is reality TV. That's where my position has always been. I've never had the idea that this was, like, actually really happening. I saw it as fucking daytime soap opera drama shit. And I think... And that's why, like, even though I love Tommy C, when Tommy C left, I think that the show got a bit better because it stopped being an actual podcast. It stopped being a show and it started becoming drama.
Person here trying to leak shit.
Team, cheer the hell up. We love you.
Motherfucker act like his baby mama died or something.
I've had to deal with every person here trying to leak shit, say everything's my fault, you know, multiple different challenges with the internet and everything else. You know, people criticizing me, mainly Wings, for picking this place. When it's like, dude, what am I supposed to do? Fly down and scout the place and check out stuff? Like, you know what I mean? I don't have time for that. I gotta do a show every
Here's
fucking
a mistake that you made. Here's a mistake that you made. A $32,000 mistake. If we did this in April, we could have done this at Lord Rush's place for free with gigabyte internet. But you wanted it faster.
Wait, 355. All those waters.
Here's a mistake that you made.
What's that?
You think I'm gonna forgive you for this?
I don't give a fuck.
You say that.
I say
I
that.
promise you will.
It's fishing on the back.
What's the plan here? That's fucked.
I don't know. So he's just sabotage the brand, sabotage.
I'm not sabotaging the brand for a lie that you fucking made.
Yeah.
I'm not sabotaging the brand.
You are.
You creating a lie sabotaging the brand.
And you're even calling it a lie. You know?
It's a fucking lie.
You're even calling it a lie.
What part of it is not a fucking
You're
lie?
calling it a fucking
what
lie.
What part of it's not a fucking lie? Tell me which part of it.
It's not a
Look
lie.
right
it was
there.
a setup.
That's not a setup.
And
it's a fucking lie.
And why are you getting loud in my face?
Because I fucking can.
Dude, are you Are you fucking serious? You better stop. Hey, you better stop. Wings, chill. You better stop. Wings, you better.
And that's where it cuts. That's where it cuts. Then we got fucking people sitting around.
Tried the double sonic smasher. Now,
so far, what I'm seeing is exactly what he explained in that video. So I'm not really getting a ton of context going here. I'm not getting a ton of new information. I thought that there'd be more. It just seems like Keem did a setup, thought that he could play it up more, and they didn't want to go behind that. And it seemed like Keem made a big fucking mistake picking this place. I want to be straight out and say that I think that that is a huge mistake. And I think when he called Keem on that pissed Keem off. And Keem thought, how can I throw this back at Boogie to where he's the bad guy and I'm not looked at like the asshole anymore? And because Keem does not like looking like the asshole. And I think that right there is what set this shit off. I think that was enough to set it off. And let's go to where the action happens. Let's go to the fucking cool shit.
Pushing me. I'm like, dude, I'm going to swing. You keep doing that. And he went to go grab me like this. Yeah. Like, that's where this came.
Retro Super Chatted $20.
And I kept saying, I'm going to...
Man, he's bruised the fuck.
Hate you. I'm going to hate you. I'm going to hate you.
I'm glad you didn't say any of that.
And when it fucking... And then somehow it got broken up or whatever.
Come on. Please.
He goes, I'm not bitch made. You think I am?
Gaga super chatted $19.99.
Look at Boogie just sitting there sucking as much wiener as he possibly can.
McJugger Nuggets really killed it on this one.
Hey, that's your fucking wife now. Go calm down. That's your wife, man. Go calm down.
Holy shit, dude. And like actually watching this shit play out way worse than like I think that's one of the problems when you see people like do the commentary thing where they talk about it and they break it down play by play, is I think you miss out on the actual explosiveness of it.
That's your wife they're hurting now. Calm down. Calm down.
Get the fuck away from her. Get the fuck away from her. What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Go calm down. Go calm down.
That's your fucking lie.
Why are you lying about me? What's the lie? Sometimes you lash out when you feel like you made a mistake or other people
Bro, I like how he's pushing her away. Get away from me, bro. That just makes it worse, bro. You should be comforting her. You should be like, I don't know, dude. Like, when I saw the clip, I thought that he was, like, trying to comfort her and that other chick stepped in. He just seems like he's being a dickhead, bro. Nah, dude, should be fired.
Don't worry
about me. Worry about your wife. Worry about your wife right now.
That's your fucking wife. Yeah, dude, what the fuck?
That's your wife.
By the way, this is a W storyline.
Big ups to this guy for keeping a cool head throughout this whole situation. Like, here's the thing. You either go in and everybody goes in on him and it becomes much more of an explosive situation with everybody yelling at him, or you have every once in a while you have to have somebody there that has the cool head, or it will become way worse of a situation. So big ups to this guy, whoever the fuck he is.
Whoever cooked this script up is killing it. This script sucks.
Bro, this fucking guy's about to have a fucking heart attack, dude.
Yeah, dude, what the fuck?
That's your
wife.
Oh, dude's like fucking having a respiratory attack right now. This is better than all the exercise he could have done at this fat camp.
By the way, this is a W storyline. Whoever cooked this script up is killing it. This script sucks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, faster than a football player, way funnier.
I'm not talking to any of y'all ever again, but here's the fact I want to say. Is King's inability to ever look bad and always wanting to lie that created...
Bro, oh my god. Keem's inability to look, not wanting to look bad. Bro, you just fucking shoved your wife to the ground, dog. Like, there's no script in the world that's gonna make you, make your little fucking meltdown about Keem right here make you look good, dog. Dear fucking God, bro. You just watched your paycheck fly away.
It's sensitive.
That's it.
I disagree, but... Love you guys. Love you, Jordy. You guys will be all right.
Take care, bro. Anyone who's this upset enough to push his wife needs anger management. Smiling Oni super chatted $19.99. Breaking Banquet gonna get rich.
Yeah. He'll go
Penny 1001 super chat. Everyone wave to Breaking Banquet.
Hi, Breaking Banquet.
That's a great clippable moment, dude. I want to see the fallout, dude. The plot thickens. Let's see how this goes, dude. I'm interested. I'm in. This is going to be a long video for me when I release this. We're going so fucking hard into this. We're doing more research than anybody else is doing. We're finding out about all this shit.
He looked at her dead in her eyes and pushed her.
Cat's out of the bag.
Damn, bro. There used to be this psychopath that followed him that had the best fucking opening. It was like a Fast and Furious opening, but I think the guy was actually that ended up getting arrested because he was a psychopath. But he had this thing where it was like driving. He's like, it's all about family. He's like, yeah, well, I hope your family dies in an automobile accident. And it was the best fucking intro.
For beeping him, right?
Yeah, so...
Wait, he slapped what?
Her arm.
He grabbed her arm.
Well, let me lay the context. I didn't know we were going to talk about this today, but I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
There's a video, Xylee, that we just watched an hour ago. Twiggy was riding with Jordy and Kelly.
Okay.
And at some point, can I borrow your arm for a second?
Yeah.
At some point, she was driving the car and Wings did this to her. Okay? Now, don't get upset.
Yeah, I'm not going to get upset with you.
It was harder than that. But that
Harder than that.
You can
But you can hear it. It's like, stop!
Nope.
Right? And that alone is not great.
Wait, was this her driving arm?
This is her driving. Yeah, she's honking the
Right
horn. He grabs her arm, yanks it loud enough, and I don't know what to make of that video.
So a pussy body woman beater scared he's gonna get shot in Atlanta for her beeping the horn. So he slapped the shit out of his wife. Make it make sense, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
How about that?
I need to see this.
No, driving here. Driving here.
What the
hell? Yeah, it's bad.
I don't know. This is breaking. This is.
So yeah, this is interesting stuff. Like, here's the thing too. That's only gonna make this shit worse. It's gonna conflate this. That puts more context between the tweet I showed earlier, because I had no idea what they were fucking talking about the earlier segment. So it just seems like this shit's compiling.
Yeah.
Brent,
compiling on top of, like, it's stacking up. Oh, fuck off with your cum goblin nonsense.
I guess the big question right now is what happened yesterday, an isolated incident, or is it a pattern? And even as an isolated incident, it's bad.
Well, it's not isolated because you have almost.
But even as an
Yeah, what happened to, like, I see all these people here. What happened to Boogie's girlfriend, dude? I'm honestly curious. Did they break up or some shit?
Isolated incident, one of that would be a very, very bad thing. Within a week, Twiggy films this video and he deleted it for the record. And because he mentioned that it existed, we got him to reestablish it on his camera, like get it back off, because you can do that when it's on camera. You can recover it. And he did that for us, and we have now all seen it, and I guess the rest of it. That establishes a bit of a pattern.
Mental abuse is just as bad. You can't isolate it. If he did it in front of all these people, he's doing it at home in private. And you know what? He says if there's no mark, it's not abuse.
I gotta walk away for a second.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll be back.
I'm sorry, by the way, if that was triggering at all.
I got.
Yeah, I think what I'm reading here is it looks like they broke up, dude. It looks like maybe they broke up. I have no idea. I don't know where his little fucking 12-year-old girlfriend is. It's kind of weird she's not here.
This is a very sensitive topic for pretty much everybody that's in this room, I think.
Again, I've been out of the Lolcow live sphere for a while because I was, like, listening to it, having fun with it, and then I fell out at some point, and then I check back in every once in a while, but I haven't been in on the newest arcs of the chaos. So this is all fucking news to me, buddy.
And even if you have not dealt with domestic abuse in your own life, you certainly know someone has. You know the impact that it has on them. Tita, you've seen this video this morning. I want your opinion on it. Out of all the people that should have an opinion on it, I think you're at the top of the list. You're very open about what you've experienced.
It's abuse.
You think that was abuse?
Yeah, he controls her, he abuses her. Period.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she starts, no, don't call me a victim. Okay, why not? That's what you are.
Well,
She's making excuses. Oh, he don't mean to slap me, or I tripped over this. It's probably worse undercover. Y'all don't see it all. I'm guaranteeing it's probably worse at home.
I mean, Kelly stands by her man. There's no arguing that. And like,
a lot of abusive people do until they die.
Yeah.
Till they die.
Well, I've seen a whole lot of emotional abuse.
I mean, there's.
Yeah.
All right. It looks like Keem shows up here. I want to hear his perspective.
Right.
Been together that long? How long do you think you've been together, bro?
What? Haven't you been together a long time?
5, 6 years, maybe.
You're the seal.
Yeah, but they live a separate life as a married couple, though.
So initially we were talking about suspending Jordy for like 90 days with a potential path to come back. We're at a point now where I don't know if there is a path back. So as of right now, he's fired off of Lolcow Live.
Boogie and Tina, please educate us viewers how and where to report Jordy Jordan to the nearest Conway, South Carolina domestic violence abuse authorities. Or is this the jurisdiction of Texas Police Report?
There's no one here that messes around with that, men laying hands on females. It's just the Twiggy clip.
Comparison to Jordy abusing his wife. I just got out of a bad DV situation ton. The person on getting NG abused Downey leave whilst they choose life over DETH. Kelly, please stay safe and get out of that life.
You know, me and Boogie came up with a pretty good plan to help Jordy. Jordy asked us for help and we agreed we would help him.
Yeah.
So we were in the process of like, okay, let's get him into counseling. Let's do stuff with him and Kelly so we can kind of like, you know, end this abuse stuff. I mean, everyone has seen the verbal abuse, like how he talks to her, how he treats her, not wanting to celebrate her birthday, like just like it's some pretty gross stuff outside of anything.
I mean, he's kind of just like, here's the thing that pisses me off with like Boogie, or not Boogie, with Wings, is it just seems like it was a marriage of convenience, and it just doesn't seem like he's happy, and he's not trying to make her happy, and she seems to like be really working hard to better herself, but it just seems like he's just being this sad sack piece of shit, and I don't think we're going to get much more out of this, so I think I'm going to cut this out here. I did see a tweet from Keem saying that he was going to counseling, which good. Maybe something can change him out of that perspective of, I'm not just here to make money, I need to better myself in my life and do better things, because that was kind of my put out on like the show in general, is even though Boogie is a clown, it did seem like he was a clown and doing this for the show and working better for the show and playing things up for the show. Everything was for the show, and I could see a drive in him. And Wings seemed to have like the drive for like what seemed like 6 months out of like a year, when he started actually putting things on his channel, started working a little bit harder on his channel, also doing the Lolcow live thing, but then he just kind of like, it's like a spurt of inspiration and then it's fucking jizz in the wind, it's gone forever. And I just see that, like, I think something drastically needs to change for him and he needs to do better, and I think the best path is to fire him and like get him counseling, and maybe like 6 months down the line, if the show's starting to fail, bring him back after a bunch of counseling, if you really want to do that, because I don't know who else you're going to throw in the sea. I don't know what other fucking clown you can throw in that's going to bring as much power as Wings brought. I mean, don't get me wrong, again, I'm going to throw a little trash toward Tommy C, but Tommy C was never the right fit, I think, for a show like this. Tommy C is a commentary YouTuber. He's always going to be a commentary YouTuber. He seemed like he was never fully, like, sold into this Wings, or to this Lolcow thing. I think that Keem just wanted somebody like him to run the show, and I think that he misjudged the idea that Tommy was gonna spur him up. He kind of seemed to play the level-headed guy, and they needed somebody here who was gonna put a fire under their asses and make them chaos. And I think Keem was always the best fit for that, and that's why this show was a success. It wasn't because of anything else other than that. And I'm glad that they forced Keem to pay Tommy C out, because I think that was the right thing to do. I think that was the right push. I know Keem disagrees, but I think full-heartedly that was the right push. But I just don't see, I think this is way worse than faking cancer in a lot of regard, because you can spin faking cancer to have as much fun as possible with creating content. I just don't see a way to spin this other than to shut him out of the show for a while and send him to counseling and have him come back a different guy. There's really no other way if there's ever a path to Boogie coming back to the show. But that's my 2 cents on the whole situation. The fucking giggity schmoodle man showed up, gave you his opinion. This might not have been the most entertaining thing for you, but it was sure as fuck entertaining for me, and I've been rock hard the entire time. But thank you so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right. So we have some commentary drama that I want to get into. We got some more stuff that I want to get into that is chaos, that is fun. Now, imallexx fell out because he was one of those, he was a commentary YouTuber, but he was on like the virtue signaling side of things. Like everything had to be like a virtue signal. It's the same thing as commentary, just more whiny, and that's what imallexx has been doing. He was like a thorn in the spine of mainly everybody that used to do the Baited show. Now that was Keemstar, Colossal is Crazy, and then Tommy C. Those were the 3. And it was so funny that when the drama popped up with imallexx, they actually brought back Baited for another reunion, where of course Keem calls out Colossal is Crazy. They argue, they do the typical we all hate each other Baited thing. And it was like, Baited was a thing of its time. It was wonderful. It was amazing. It was like the last time they did something was over imallexx. They actually had a reunion about 5 years ago about imallexx and how much they hated this guy and how he was a snake in the grass and how he's the worst. And then imallexx like literally goes out and just like goes completely spurg mode on his girlfriend, where he's just being a vile dude after spending years virtue signaling about how much he cared about women, that it brought these three back to do another baited episode. And it's just so funny. I mean, his channel was bust. He really had no way of coming back. But I guess he made a comeback, or is trying to make a comeback, and it's not going well for him. But this is done by Jamari, so we are going to give this a run, and I'm so interested to see how the chicken's made.
So around a year ago, a commentary YouTuber named imallexx completely lost his career in the span of 24 hours, as his ex-girlfriend Alice had exposed him for being a completely different person off camera. You see, Alice released this 82-page Google Doc where she displayed how toxic, abusive, and downright disturbing their one-year relationship was. Hundreds of text messages, voice and video recordings, and other evidence was released to the general public.
Yeah, it was an absolute nuke on this guy, and it always hits these guys harder when they virtue signal about how great they are, and how these other guys are out there manipulating women, and how they don't actually care about women, how you really care about women, and it always hits them so much harder. Now, we've had two other examples of this in recent history. We had Destiny, of course, with his just sending any video he made with any girl ever without their consent. I know that's a stretch. I'm not actually saying any girl ever. I'm not saying his house was completely filled with cameras from the moment they walked in. But it would be funny if it was, allegedly. But you had Destiny after virtue signaling how much better he was with women. And then you had that Harry Sisson guy who was an industry Democrat plant who was literally getting paid by the DNC. And he's out there talking about how like conservatives don't like women while he's manipulating every girl to come into contact with him. Now, this was a lot worse, I think, than both of those, because what it came out was he was just vile. He was actually an incredibly abusive guy. We had him almost on the levels of Wings of Redemption here. He was going absolutely giggity schmoodle, or anti-giggity schmoodle mode on his girlfriend, because if he's giggity schmoodle, he'd lay her down, love her, treat her with respect. But nah. He's coming in with those flying elbows and verbal abuse, baby. And it kind of just nuked his entire platform, because that's all he stood for, was how much more virtuous he was than everybody else.
All at once. It was a bombshell, and the people of YouTube feasted on this information like wild piranhas. Because for years, this man had presented himself as the nice guy, an ally to every community who had nothing but love in his heart. I want to say at one time this dude even had e-girls and maybe some e-guys lusting over him online. I mean, this was his merch after all.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I have many gay friends. My father's gay.
Now, in all reality, Alex is an egotistical, self-absorbed clown who thinks he is superior to other people because he ran a successful YouTube.
He was also one of those guys that came out as bisexual, but like never actually dated a dude or anything. Now, I don't 100% know they never dated a dude, but I love these people. They're like, oh, I'm bisexual, and then they exclusively date the opposite gender just so they can get brownie points on the internet. It's just so funny. They're like, yeah, look how with the times I am. I actually really care about gay people because I'm actually one of them. Let me get your pussy, bitch. Let me slit my tongue and hit that clitoris. Dude, I'm way down with the times, my dog.
YouTube channel.
Because it's all virtue signaling. He ain't out there slinging dicks into his mouth, bro. That's exclusively not for him, but he wants people to think it is so that he can talk more shit on the internet.
Ego was on full display when he would talk about how great he was and how his brain was truly an enigma too complicated for others to understand.
To the point where it's actually really hard to follow what I'm saying because it's so flexible. I've gone, you could do this, but you might be able to do that, but you might be able to do that, and you might be able to do this, and this might work, but you might be able to do that. And it sounds fucking mental. I don't even understand how you could possibly actually follow along to it. Like most of my friends struggle to actually understand what I'm saying. But that's why I'm a professional.
Well, and here's the thing too. Well, why these guys feel this way is because they've cornered themselves. They have created this little niche market where they're getting the feedback from their audience. They are then gulping that feedback down like 80 pounds of genital fluid, and then spitting it back so that they're constantly just spitting in each other's mouths, and it paints them in this corner where they have to follow exactly the lines that they have set for themselves. They never have any nuance. They never have any other ideas. They follow the fucking line, and they create this audience captured perspective that they honestly have to avoid certain topics, or then try to not step on certain toes, and it's super fucking toxic. It's super fucking cringe. I never want to be in this space, and this is why, not that I play into the nuance on purpose. It's why I try to approach every topic with a bit of nuance, where I can try to have understanding from both perspectives, but I can also make my own perspective and give you the fat fucking middle finger to anything you say that you might disagree with me, because I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if my audience decides that they want to fucking chomp down on imallexx's dick. Don't like the guy. I'm not gonna agree with you. It's the same reason why when I was doing Hassan videos, which I haven't done in a while, and I don't plan on doing again for a while, because I'm pretty sure I nuked the fucker and proved why he's a grifter. It's why I don't care how many angry comments I get that I'm wrong, and where they don't actually prove any evidence I'm wrong. I'm not gonna look at that and be like, maybe I should just agree with him so I get more nice comments. Fuck that, dude. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be who the fuck I am, and I'm not gonna play into this bullshit. And that's exactly what he was doing. And because he was playing into this and also had this overblown ego, he just thinks nobody else can understand, when in all reality he's just an audience captured little bitch that has to overthink everything due to fucking media, the media outrage that could possibly happen.
You're or not, and you think you can just ignore them because, like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I don't know. Your boyfriend's a famous internet celebrity and doesn't trust these people because he has to keep his circle small, because you might not have anything to fucking lose, because your life might be down the fucking drain, but I still have quite a lot that I would like to fucking give.
You would think this guy was making Martin Scorsese level films the way his head was so big. I've actually interacted with quite a few YouTubers who were just like this guy, who basically act like they're God's gift to Earth because they touched a little paper and gained a following online, and it makes me sick. But being conceited was not this guy's worst offense, as there were these other
Well, and when they get this feedback from their audience and they've gotten into this audience captured fucking like circle jerk mode, they all become egomaniacs like this. I mean, you can look at any single one of them. It's just such a horrible trend, and I fucking hate it. I don't care how big I ever get. I'm gonna be the same fucking annoying asshole that I am right now. I'm gonna be the same fucking cum goblin, dude. I'm gonna be out here, I'm King Jiffy. I don't care how retarded I fucking look, or retarded you think it makes me look. I don't give a shit. I'm here to have as much fun as possible and enjoy this shit as much as I possibly can, and at the end of the day, I hit upload, turn my phone off and move the fuck on. And then sometimes I think, ooh, what if this will be fun? I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna fucking do it. I don't care what feedback might or might not get, dude. I'm one of those people that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and I'm gonna be fucking shooting my shot into as many pussies as fucking possible. And the pussies are metaphorical for the YouTube fucking algorithm, baby.
Video and audio clips where he was berating his girlfriend with disgusting insults and threats.
Oh, and by the way, the thing I was gonna say that tied that in and I forgot is I'm fucking retard. I am never gonna be the big guy on the totem pole. Even if I get a goody schmoodle amount of followers, I'm always going to be a retard on the internet, and I don't care if I'm anything more. I'm here to have fun, hopefully make some money, and that's my goal at the end of the day. Just have fun, make some money, and be a retard on the internet.
Thing about you, and this is the thing, and this is why I go round and round in circles. I joined Cool. Now, when it's too fucking late, you admit that you did everything fucking wrong. But when it actually matters, when you should lay down like a good fucking dog, you don't fucking do it. You fight for some reason. I don't know why you fight, because you're losing. And then you look like a fucking miserable fucking little cunt all the time. Like, your face is annoying to look at, like when I come downstairs. Like, I'm actually fed up of looking at you. You don't actually, like, you don't clean up after yourself. Nigga, neither do you. Is it generally because you're just fucking brain dead?
By the way, this guy would have fucking burned somebody's career over something like that. And he would have, like, absolutely went out and, like, called for them to be banned off the platform. He would have, like, rallied his little Spurg fest of fans to have them nuke them off the platform for racism and shit. When he doesn't care about any of it. He doesn't care. It's all optics to him. This is all optics to feed into his own ego with his audience. And the funny thing about this clip is this is worse. This looks way worse than any of the fucking, like, I remember the Steven Crowder thing, and the Steven Crowder thing was, he looked like an asshole. He was being disgusting to his wife. But this is worse than that, dog. This is worse than that. And I know for a fact that, like, if he saw somebody that he didn't like doing it, he'd burn him. He'd burn him like a fucking witch at Salem, dog.
Yeah, I'm very brain dead, yeah.
Is that why you decided to go on the fucking offensive instead of the maybe
offensive.
Okay. Just do the normal route, but a normal girlfriend.
You're acting like this is all just me, and that's something you really need to fucking fix.
I'm gonna fucking bash your fucking head against the wall with a brick if you don't shut the up.
That is just a mere glimpse into the types of things he was saying to his girlfriend on a regular basis during their relationship. It seems like he essentially wanted her to always be available to him at his disposal, while he also looked down upon her because she wasn't working, and he was funding their lifestyle. He also came off as very manipulative, emotionally
Yeah, dude, I mean, you were making millions of dollars online. It's like, you can figure the shit out, dog. Like, who cares? Like, you have to fucking support your significant other. Oh, worries me. Your life is so fucking hard. Oh no, fuck off, out of here, dog. Who cares if she doesn't make money, dude? Like, just fucking have a normal conversation where you don't spurg the fuck out and call her the C word and the N word like a fucking idiot. Now, I don't think that, like, I'm not here to, like, condemning him, like, oh, he's a misogynist or he's a fucking racist, because I don't think he's actually either of those things. I think he's just a fucking asshole and a piece of shit who was coming up utilizing the Leafy is here, and then when he saw Leafy get banned and that whole world of commentary really get shaken up at that time period, he went to the far other side because he saw, just like iDubbbz, just like Ethan Klein, just like all these other fucking edgy guys at that time period, where the fucking wind was blowing, and he went over to that side as quickly as fucking possible to grift that audience. That's exactly what he did, and then he got called on it because he was always the toxic motherfucker, and now he's reaping what he sowed.
And without a better way for me to say it, he comes off as a massive puss. I do want to make it clear though that both of these people appear to be incredibly immature, insanely toxic, and they were definitely not meant to be together in general. I mean, even just on paper, right? A commentary YouTuber dating an OF girl sounds like a recipe for disaster. Like, honestly, if you were going to do social media...
I mean, it definitely did not work out for old iDubbbz. That it's like, well, I mean, it's kind of working out. He seems happy enough. His career's imploded. Everything, he's lost all his friends, so it doesn't seem to be going great for iDubbbz. But I mean, he seems happy in his relationship, I guess. But yeah, he's not commentary anymore. He's fucking nothing, I guess. He's doing another creator clash, which I don't have a lot of hope in, considering the last one he lost a shitload of money and had to stream and beg for 24 hours. But it seems like imallexx is going down that same, like, I made the comparison. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. It's only, the only one who seems to have figured shit out is Ethan. But, like, Ethan's spiraling on a different level.
Stuff for a living, I would actually recommend that you find a partner that has a more normal job. Because at the end of the day, there needs to be some level of separation. You need to be able to disconnect. Now, with that being said though, I cannot even begin to imagine talking to any girlfriend I've ever had this way. It's one thing to get mad and say something you don't mean, or tell her to get out of your face or something like that. But to say you're gonna unalive someone, or that you want to bash their head into a wall, or allegedly destroying their property after they decide they did not want to be with you, that is the move of someone who cannot control themselves.
I'm
crazy and you wouldn't understand me. You wouldn't understand the hardships I've been through.
You know, back when I was in my early 20s, I would oftentimes let my emotions get the best of me. Like something would make me mad and I would want to scream, I would want to cry, I would want to speed in my car.
Well, and this is a fair point, because like back in my 20s, I wasn't the greatest person. I wasn't like an awful person, but I'm not out here saying I was a fucking saint. I definitely had my own spurg outs, but nothing to this regard. I never talked to somebody, like actually went out and somebody I was dating just went fucking full fucking spurg mode on their ass. I mean, sure, I've had arguments with girls, I've had arguments with my wife, but it never got more than something that we couldn't figure out in the moment, something I didn't come at from a perspective of, this is what I want to change, this is what I see you're doing wrong, this is what I know I'm doing wrong, let's try to figure out a compromise here to make this shit work. And sure, it might get heated, but I've never just fucking like screeched out on a girl, called her the N-word, and then just like went full asshole. I mean, I think like normal people don't go that regard, because everyone, whether you want to or believe it or not, like you might say, oh, I've never had a bad interaction. Shut the fuck up. We've all had that cringy moment where we like over texted somebody, fucking were cringy because we tried to go we got like trapped in like overly obsessed with somebody. We're like, oh dude, I'm gonna like get this girl's gonna be my next wife, and like you care more than that girl ever cared, and you were just fucking leading yourself along. And obviously that type of shit you probably were way cringy on. I think we all did that in high school and middle school, and like if you go back on anybody, you're gonna find stuff on them that makes them look like a cringe lord or like weird. But like finding stuff where you're actually just fucking talking about bashing your girlfriend's head in with a fucking brick, that's another level. You see what I mean? That's not, oh, I was cringy when I was fucking 17. No, you're a fucking asshole, dog.
Maybe punch a hole in the wall, just dumb shit like that. That is until my dad sat me down one day when something bad had happened to me and I was freaking out. And he said, son, you're gonna go into the PLP Hall of Fame. And I'm like, Dad, what's PLP? Like peace, love, and positivity, like Logic says? And he's like, no, son. It's an acronym for poor little pussy. Because honestly, you cannot let yourself spiral like this. That's when you are liable to fuck up and make life-altering mistakes. Either way though, this entire year goes by and this dude just goes dark on social media. Ironically, the last video he posted onto his main channel was JoJo Siwa is hiding a dark secret, when in reality, he was the one hiding his own skeletons in the closet.
I'm gonna fucking bash your head against the wall with a brick.
Well, I'm sure this won't have any adverse effects on her future.
I just know JoJo was dancing at the crib down in Fireball straight out the bottle when this dude got exposed. It actually might be like a JoJo Siwa curse at this point. Like, y'all remember what happened to DaBaby?
And the things that are being hidden are quite disturbing.
In all seriousness though, the dude finally responded with this hour and 42-minute video. And yes guys, I did indeed watch the entire thing. Like, that shit had the same runtime as Lost in Translation. Now,
oh, bro, what the fuck? Bro's got dedication, dog. I saw this and I said, thank God I don't have to watch that fucking endless bullshit of him crying on camera because he's a little pussy ass bitch. Like, thank fucking God I don't have to watch that because somebody else did the legwork for me. And I know what you're thinking. Well, you don't make actual content, just reactions. Yeah, I do, because sometimes this shit's way nicer than sitting here listening to fucking 4 hours of shit. I do that for my gaming videos already, where I do deep dives. Fuck that shit. I would lose my fucking mind. I would be in the corner jerking off and covered in peanut butter if I had to do this much research every day for a new topic, bro. You would not be getting the beautiful amount of content that you would get currently from King Jiffy Coats if I had to do that much deep dives.
essentially Alex spends his time here saying, yes, I did some of those things. Some of the other allegations are untrue or have been misconstrued by my ex. And yeah, I might have been a piece of shit, but she is just as bad, if not worse, than myself.
Alice hit me.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, this is so fucking crazy, dude. Yeah. I'm gonna throw blame back on the bitch. She's looking like the victim right now. I don't like that. I took a year and thought about this, and she's the fucking horrible person. I was the one being abused.
He kicked me, emotionally, verbally, and physically abused me, as well as threatened me and blackmailed me constantly throughout our relationship. Alice has continued to harass me by posting false information about me, as well as...
That's where you break up when the first, like... if this shit was happening, right? If this shit was happening before you spurred the fuck out, you should have just broke up with her. You should have just broke up with her. Oh, well, you can't always shut the fuck up. Yeah, like, I hate this new idea that we don't have accountability. It's like, I fucked up. This is what happened. Okay, I'm done. I'm moving on with my life. Boom. Problem fucking solved. Wow. We did some, like, actual fucking, self-reflection here, and we realize sometimes in life, you fuck up, you apologize, you move on. By throwing shade at the other person, all you look like is a little basic ass bitch, bro. You look like a little fucking baby whiner. You're trying to play the victim because that's all you've learned how to do, Alex. You just know how to be the little fucking I'm a victim. It's the same shit that I've seen a million times before from these little fucking cum goblins, bro. These cum falcons swoop in here and then play the victim card. Oh, I was getting abused too, so it's okay that I abuse them. Nah, dude, you should have said, this bitch is abusing me, I'm fucking out ski because I'm like a wealthy YouTuber that is doing great things. This is going to end up blowing up in my face. You got to think about this shit and like internalize it. You're so fucking smart. You've told everybody how fucking smart you are. Why haven't you taken the time to look at some self-reflection and then broke up with her? Oh, well, because you're fucking retarded. That's why. You're fucking retarded, and she wins in this because now you're playing defense and playing the victim card.
Fabricating stories about our relationship online to this day. Since our relationship ended, Alice has lied continuously for the last 12 months that I was under a police investigation to friends, ex-girlfriends, and YouTube commentary channels.
He takes the interesting route here of basically saying that because the police never got involved, he couldn't have been abusive, which, let's be honest, most of the times the cops are not very helpful in these types of situations, as it obviously becomes a lot of he said, she said. Actually, only 5.7% of incidents end in arrest, and only 0.6 end in incarceration. There is just a lot of back and forth here when it comes to the derogatory language used, and also to allusions of physical violence from both sides.
Alice wrote right at the end of her document that for legal and obvious reasons, she wouldn't attach all the evidence she has, but in due time, it may be made public. Not only is this not how police investigations work, but Alice has not posted more evidence since, despite saying the supposed investigation had now ended. This is because there never was an investigation, as it was a lie.
Now she has already clapped back at this claim, posting several screenshots where authorities appeared to be in contact with her as recently as this last summer. But still, Alex...
Well, here's the thing too, it is he said, she said, but at the same time, she's not the one on camera calling her a C-U-N double T. I'm saying double T to maybe trick the algorithm because it's a robot and it can't spell. Fuck you, autocorrect. I know you're watching me, but like, dude, and they're on camera yelling that she's an N-word and stuff, bro. You lost. You virtue signaled for years and then found out that you were treating your girlfriend like absolute goddamn fucking trash on the side of the road that you're spreading your butt cheeks and diarrhea shitting on, and now she's the bad guy and pulling all the stuff that's he said, she said. You're on fucking video, dog, saying to smash her head in with a brick. You lost. You're fucking cooked. Apologize, say you're the fucking asshole, and try to retcon that way. Move the fuck on, start making content again. Go right back to making content and pretend like you've done your shit, it's over, and like people will start watching your shit and forget about this shit. I mean, you see it happen with these YouTubers all the time. They do something crazy, they go back to making content, people forget they did the shit until the next drama happens, and then all that old shit's brought back up. Like, you had a path to where you could have saved a fraction of your fucking fraction of your face. Apologize, say I'm the asshole. I was in a toxic relationship. I should have broke it off. We were both bad to each other, but I definitely went too far in all of that situations, and I'm glad that we're moving our separate way. End of video, go into some commentary shit, move the fuck on. Like, that would have been the better way to play it instead of this I'm the victim too shit. Because, like, now she's clapped back with these screenshots that make you look like that much more of an asshole. You look like you fucking failed harder. Look at you fucking getting swallowed into the fucking menstruation tsunami, buddy.
This kind of retains here that he is the real victim to her toxic behavior.
As Alice has continued to lie about me and the she put me through during our relationship, whilst blackmailing me and threatening me. Alice has created a one-sided narrative that does not show the reality of what had happened during our relationship, as Alice intentionally left out hundreds of text conversations that would disprove her stories and false narrative that she has created. Instead, it would show that Alice had been a for our entire relationship and that she has not stopped harassing me for the last year.
Now I find
This just makes him look so fucking bad, dude. This makes him look so fucking bad, dog. Oh, but she was the abuser first, bro. Bro's like literally drowning in a volcano of period blood right now, dude. He's just like, blah, 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 blah. He's fucking so sad, bro. Look at me, big tears. I'm the victim. She won't stop harassing me. Like, like nobody's gonna come out and be like, oh yeah, dude, you were the victim the whole time. Obviously you were taken wrong, dude. If you wouldn't have spent years, like half of this is the hypocrisy of you being an absolute douchebag and virtue signaling and trying to ruin other people's careers, but for doing the exact same thing you did, to find out that you've been doing it behind the shadows or behind the scene in the shadows. You've just been in there just slowly with a brick waiting to bash your girlfriend's head in, and then it comes public and, oh well, no, it's a victim. This is the brick of abuse that she threw at me. Oh, it's never gonna hit her in the head. What actually happened is she threw the brick at me and I caught it, and I wasn't sitting in the shadows waiting to beat her head in.
I find it pretty strange when he claims that she was lying and harassing him after their breakup, when he was contacting her from burner profiles after he had gotten blocked. He was sending her letters through the mail, he was sending her notes via Amazon, he was sending her hundreds of messages on Facebook, and that all sounds like someone who does not want to let go to me. Now over and over he talks about how
I just want to say one more thing. This is like such a fucking audience captured mindset, right? He thinks that he can come in here, and because he's manipulated the virtue signaling victim culture thing so many times, that over the last year what he's thought is he could compile evidence that made him look better, make him look like the victim, and he could run the same grift. That was his mindset. He was like, dude, I'm running low on cash. How can I get back into the YouTube space where I can start making money again, because my cash flow is looking mad sad. I don't have stacks rubber banded and stuck into my fucking pants to make my dick look bigger anymore. It's starting to make me look like the micro penis I have, which isn't a bad thing. Good for your intellect. But he just has nowhere to go, so he comes back and uses the same grift as before, but there's so much time separated now that like only the people that are like absolute spurgs for imallexx, the ones that are drooling and then like waiting for him to come in their direction so they can catch it in their mouth, are the only ones that are going to believe this shit. His master audience appeal is going to see this and be like, but weren't you the guy virtue signaling before? What, like, I thought you were on our side, but then I found out that you were actually really toxic. You don't pass the fucking vibe check anymore, because that's his audience that he had obtained, and now it's gone. It's gone, except for like the weird Alex Spurgs. And you're not gonna make the same career, and you're not gonna fucking pull the wool over these motherfuckers' eyes that already have made the decision on you. You're fucking cooked, dog. The same grift ain't gonna work anymore.
She's the one who actually hit him. He says that she would kick him frequently, and he also cites this text message over and over where she admits that she slapped him in the face, which she did also admit in her Google Doc.
Alice had also been kicking me, which she admitted to me on Facebook Messenger after she had lied that I was on Claire's Law, that she had been slapping, punching, and kicking me throughout our relationship. When I brought up that she had been hitting me throughout our relationship, Alice responded by saying that any girl would have done the same. Alice then excused this behaviour by telling me it's okay for women to hit men if they are being an asshole.
And this is why I say this guy Alex is tripping, because if I'm paying for a place that me and a girl are living at, and every day she's apparently treating me like shit like he says, and she's punching and kicking me, I'm not gonna retaliate with physical violence. Her bags would just simply be packed, and the locks would be changed that day, and if I had to call the police and get them involved, I'd go that route too. But him trying to twist and turn...
This shit is so simple. It's so simple. You want to break up with her, you put the shit outside, you change the locks, you move on. Or you break up and hope it ends amicably. But if that doesn't work, dude, you fucking do exactly what he said. But he doesn't know how to take accountability, because playing the victim is so much easier and so much more juicy for him, because he's a little whiny little boy.
This thing where he somehow is gonna come out as the victim is just ridiculous.
I blow hot and cold. You've seen me. I'm apologising 1 minute, shouting the next. Angry 1 minute, please come here, hold me. I read old iMessages from us from the beginning of the last year. I could see how I caused everything.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, dude, such a little fucking pussy, bro. Such a little whiny bitch, dude. He was... What a little fucking crybaby, dog.
Jealous about you playing games with your friends because I wanted you to dedicate your life to me.
And it's funny how he brings up this text message over and over again, but he does not acknowledge these other messages where he says he kicked her, and he also says that she never abused him. Now in her Google Doc, she discussed several instances where she says that he got physical with her, claiming that he dragged her on the ground, pushed her, and put her in a headlock. He denies all of this using vague text messages that he attempts to explain. I mean, it's like half the time his proof is that there were no text messages or videos to support her claims.
Alice knew she would be using them in her document and that she had been planning this full story about me. Alice has used these texts to make it seem like I had physically assaulted her when this never happened.
But honestly, dude, when you're on record saying shit like this,
I'm gonna bash your head against the wall with a brick.
And we've also seen these text messages, it's hard not to imagine that you might take it there.
I'm really deeply sorry that it took me this long to really reflect properly on everything. I was still victimizing myself.
And he's still doing that to this very fucking day. He took a year of reflection to come back and be the victim again, bro. You can't fucking make this shit up, dog.
And just a little side note here, I've never seen people who live in the same apartment or flat or whatever the hell they call it, who text each other so much while being in the same home. And honestly, after watching this entire 1 hour and 42-minute video and reading through her document, the real one I feel bad for is the goddamn cat that was living with them. Because it does seem like their main point of contention was him. As a matter of fact, he mentions this cat like 67 times. Yes, I did count.
I had told him to stop saying weird things to the cat. I began talking to the cat in a silly voice and Alice was laughing with me. He then goes on to say I have punched him in the face over the cat, but it was because of me making these jokes about the cat. This wasn't the first time where Alice had treated me this way over the cat. I had asked Alice many times to stop hurting me.
What the fuck? What? It's a cat, dog. You guys just like, it exists with you. Cats are like the easiest animal. They just kind of fucking float around and exist. And you just are like, what's up, fucking retard? And the cat goes, meow, love. And then you pet it and you move on. Like, why are you guys so attached? Like, so creepy with this fucking cat, bro. Were you guys like taking turns making out with it or something? This is weird, dog.
Being affectionate and talking with the cat, flat on my back in bed with the cat on my chest. You know, even your relationship with the cat, like, I was upsetting you. Why doesn't she want to share the cat with me? And it's because of the way that I was acting.
Look, guys, I don't even like cats, and I'm about to go rescue that motherfucker right now. And honestly, the rest of the video is not really worth breaking down. Alex denies most of it, especially everything physical, and the only thing he really seems sorry for is the way that he spoke to her. But still, he retains that she's...
Well, yeah, he has to hold accountability for that because there's fucking video of him doing it, and then he just turns everything else into a he said, she said, so that he can play the victim. He can't play the victim over those clips, so he apologizes, and everything else he's the victim for.
The manipulative liar who had this master plan to expose him. He even kind of stands up for himself and saying the N-word, claiming that she was also dropping slurs too.
Dropped messages that showed her using the same racial slurs that she had accused.
This is the thing that makes this all so much funnier, dude. You would have burned somebody's career for saying that shit. But, well, she said it. She said it first, so I felt I had to say it to make a point.
Me of bringing it into our relationship.
Now, to be fair to him, I do think that she was chasing some clout, making all these relatable TikToks and trying to fish for interviews. But really no one cares because he's the known person in the situation. Like his fans thought they knew his character and they did not expect this. But no matter what happened, because at this point only her, him, and the cat will truly know, I do think that both of them need to seek some sort of professional help at this point. And for this fool Alex, his career and image is still ruined in my opinion.
Maybe not everything deserves a comeback.
He doesn't really attempt to directly address the threats he said in those voice recordings and videos, and this is actually the closest he gets to any accountability.
I was horrible to Alice on many occasions, and I deeply regret this behavior, and nothing will justify that. But the order in which these events have been portrayed as false, as Alice is once again ignoring that she had tried to hurt me when I was just talking with our cat. I fully admit that I used horrible language, but as you could see, Alice would insult me too, but would only focus on my behaviour and would completely ignore her own.
I'm sure this little weasel will likely try and revive his career after this, but honestly I think it's over for the fake nice guy. Like, this video of him could have been 10 minutes long.
Dude, the way he fixes his career is he comes out and becomes like fucking Leafy, dude. He goes scorched earth on everyone. He makes fucking Nicholas Diorio blush while he's in the shower. Nicholas Diorio will be showering and you'll see Alex put a new video out, and Nick will play it, and his fat ass will start shivering and blushing because of how hard Alex is going. That is the only way Alex makes a turnaround, because his virtue signaling days are done. There's no way that anybody's going to take him seriously at all, or have his commentary is going to have any actual depth, because of the fact that he is now fucking virtue signaled way too close to the sun. He's burnt his dick off and he's plummeting toward the ground. He has to make a hard redirect to start being savage, and that is the only way he will retcon his career. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to make him like any less scummy. I'm just saying that that's the logical approach to fixing his career. That's the only way I can think about it. Just start calling out all these fucking virtue signalers for being fake, or calling like everybody out, just going scorched earth on everything, being internet asshole. You're the fucking, what is it called in wrestling? You're the fucking heel now, dog. Play the fucking heel. Play that shit up and make your fucking bag if that's what you want to do. That's the only way coming back from this. You are not the good guy anymore. You're not the virtue signal guy anymore. You gotta play that fucking heel, dog.
And it should have been released 10 months ago. He should have just apologized, maybe expressed that he was trying to better himself, and owned that he saw how toxic he had become. You know, really owned up to the messed up things he said, while also explaining that he never got physical with her like she said he did. But instead, to me, this video was really just him pointing his finger and saying, see, she's not really a good person either. But I want to know what you guys think about this information down below. Do you guys think that Alex can regain a career online? Do you think that his fans...
I easily think he can regain his career again. I think he can. I think that if he turns his, I think that if I were going to do commentary and I was him, I'd bring back gameplay. And hide your face for a while. Just start posting the videos where you're just this unapologetic asshole. Just go full fucking hard mode and just not care anymore. Just not give a shit of how it might like reflect back on you, or your old audience might not like it. Fuck them. You'll gain a new audience. You'll gain a new audience of people that think like, if you go fucking hard and not give a shit and you have like a mild amount of being funny, you can make this shit work for you and you could play the heel. Doesn't matter if you get like disliked for the first like 10-15 videos you make and just get attacked on every single comments. Just play that shit up and make it work. You could turn your career around. But I don't think him coming back and being the good commentary, the one, he's like, I'm one of the good ones, guys. It's over. It's fucking over in that regard. I think he needs to turn tail and be the fucking villain for a while.
So like satisfied with this response. Either way, I do want to thank you guys for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing. But as you guys know, some of the YouTube responses out here need to be covered, so I'm out.
And by the way, he mentioned it best. Like and subscribe my channel, guys. I will have tons and tons and tons more fun coming your guys' ways. I'll have way more breakdowns. We'll watch way more crash outs. I mean, this week has been epic for crash outs. Our last couple weeks we've had Wings, we've had imallexx, so it just keeps coming. And I love just like getting right into the bosom of these crash outs and just going and then like biting each nipple and just going real hard in the paint, because that's what I fucking live for, dog. This is the fun on the internet. I love this type of shit. I'm gonna keep bringing it to you. And for right now, that's all I gotta say on Alex. He's a little virtue signaling whining scumbag who pretty much won't have a career unless he starts playing the heel. So catch you on the next one, guys. Alright, boys and girls, this will be my last video I cover for the night, and then I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll probably like jerk it real nice, get a nice little like fucking twist going, you know, that fucking rap going. Well, I got a small dick, but I got smaller hands, so it looks big in comparison. But we're going to do one more. We're going to do one more, and this is more in the manga variety. I was excited when I saw this. This is done by Kitsume Anime. It's Why is Manga Beating American Comics? Now, I can tell you one reason why I think manga is beating American comics right away. They end. Like, manga ends. And I feel like one of the problems that a lot of these, like Marvel and DC and a lot of the American comics have had is they don't end. They just keep going indefinitely because of the fact that they want to milk as much money out of this IP as possible. They expand different universes, create different characters within the same parameters of the old character, and they never really move on and create anything new. It just feels like the same thing cycled over, but with whatever not political talking, but whatever the mindset of the times is, whatever the talking points of the times are, they modernize it and then they release a new character and it's over, and it's the same thing in nauseum, bro, in complete nauseum over and over again, right? So I think that that's one problem that American comics has had, and I think that they can learn a lot from manga, where you can write an incredible story, even if it's long and a little dragged out. You can still write an incredible story and then be done with it, create something new, and do that over and over again, and then turn it into, talk to some of these American companies like Amazon, Netflix, all, like, there's a million of them. I'm not gonna sit here and name them all day. Have them make an animated show on it. After they make the animated show and it's popular, then make a live action. There's so much money to be made here, but it takes it has to be creative at the base, and I think a lot of the problems is modern writing is pretty bad in the US. And another thing is they just want to fucking milk this shit till it's dry.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
The 2020s so far have been a bit of an unprecedented time for comic books. In 2021 alone, the industry shot up to a little over $2 billion, a 62% increase from the previous year's $1.28 billion. And I can hear you saying right now, wow, that's a huge amount of growth for comics. I can't believe the industry made that much money. That's so incredible. Wait, you're not saying that? Oh, okay, what, you're saying you don't know why you should care? Uh-huh, yeah. You're saying that this is predominantly an anime channel? Mm-hmm, yeah. You're saying that I should just get to the point already and that I should stop dragging out this bit? Okay, well,
I've actually seen this bit done from multiple different channels, and I'm a little fucking fed up with it. Like, if you're gonna make a character, don't do the fun thing. It always gets dragged out and it makes the same joke. Like, I literally saw this, I can't remember the creator, but he did a video on Sin. He did a video on Sin, and he used this exact same bit, and it was played out there as well. I thought it was, like, okay, but when you play it out, it's not funny when you mention it's played out. Like, we get it. I don't know. I've just never liked this bit.
You know, you don't have to be so rude about it. So on the surface, yeah, these numbers are neat. However, it's when you dive further in where things become truly interesting. Out of these 2 billion sales, manga made up a whopping 70% of the industry total. And while since 2023, the overall comic book industry has decreased to 1.87 billion, manga still makes up nearly half of that number, with 43% of the total market according to research conducted by ICV2. And is still considered to hold the highest percentage out of the different categories for types of comics sold. Meanwhile, mainstream American superhero comics, what many consider to be manga's primary opponent, only made up 15% of that total. It's clear that manga is kind of cleaning house right now, and there's a lot of examples of this. In 2023, the senior director for licensing at Dark Horse Comics revealed that manga, despite only being 1% of their total output, made up 66% of the company's sales. I mean, One Piece, a manga, is close to surpassing Superman as the most successful comic of all time. Freaking Superman, dude!
Well, and again, it's because they've drawn it out for so long. It's so long, it's nothing original to being brought to it. There's no original ideas. It's just sucking off the tit of its once great legacy and just dragging it out. Not to mention that we have a problem problem in the U.S. with American writing. Now, I'm not saying all manga is better, and I don't even want to go into the like political nonsense that could be derived from this conversation, because I hate those people that say, "Oh, I watch anime and read manga because it's not political." Bro, you're not from fucking Japan, so how the fuck do you know the day-to-day politics of another country? You don't, so shut the fuck up. Now, I think the big problem, and I think where a lot of this boils down to, is because a lot of these people do live in echo chambers in the US, especially in these hierarchies of these companies, that they tend to not think about the actual story progression and think more about how we can press our ideals, and how do we put that at the forefront instead of the actual storytelling. That is something that I will actually give a regard to, and I think a lot of problems with like modern writing is the fact that they're not thinking story first, and how do we weave this nuanced message in there while still creating a grand, amazing story from the get-go. There is a talking point there that I think is incredibly important, and why the American comics are kind of just flying and crashing down like a disgusting cum falcon.
You know, the one that's like, dun, 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 dun. Yes, that one. The one that's been around for 80 years. There's a very real possibility that One Piece, a manga that isn't even 30 years old yet, could dethrone Superman in our lifetime. That's so insane, but it also makes you wonder, how did this happen exactly? How did manga become such a massive force, and that it's now seemingly dominating superhero comics, what were once seen as the comic book industry? Well, in order to figure this out, we first have to look at the primary medium in which these books are advertised. And it's here that we get into the world of television and film. In the 2010s, superhero movies, specifically Marvel movies, absolutely dominated the theaters. Avengers Endgame, what was considered the 10-year culmination of an entire cinematic universe, became the highest grossing film of all time, generating $2,797,501,328. Superhero movies were on top of the pop culture.
And again, this is where I bring up the point of the modern writing just kind of being an issue and not really focusing on crafting grand narratives. I mean, you look at the stuff that's came out, you have Deadpool 3 had one of the better stories, and it made fun of where Marvel's writing was. Guardians of the Galaxy just didn't even fucking touch the multiverse. It said, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to be happy doing our own thing. James Gunn got his creative control and did something great there. And it's just kind of like, you'll have like a few examples like that, and then some examples where it's like, oh, we'll just let this director do whatever the fuck they want, and we don't care about grander narrative anymore. Just have fun with it. Enjoy the multiverse. And you'll have mid-movies come out by good directors like Sam Raimi and Doctor Strange. The big problem with Doctor Strange is you can tell where Sam Raimi had the control and then Marvel had the control, and it's clashing the entire fucking film. And then you have times where it's like an unknown director touching something like the Marvels, or like the Miss Marvel or whatever that kid is, and the show's just trash, and you can tell it's done by somebody who has no fucking clue what they're doing behind the director's chair, and they have shitty writers who are all there because they said the right things, looked the right way, and they hit the right boxes, right? And that's not me saying they were DEI, right? That's me saying that they're like, oh, well, this person, they agree with everything I think, so I'll just put them in the chair because they're a fucking yes man, and then the yes man all the way into a shitty fucking product. And this, you have enough of these bad products line up, then people start caring about the IP in general.
Mountain. However, after this, things started to slowly change. Nowadays, opinions on Marvel films and TV shows have begun to sour. While they do still have well-received films like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine, now it seems as though the well-received films are no longer outpacing the disappointments. In 2023, Marvel Studios would release The Marvels, and it would go on to become the lowest-grossing film in MCU history. And I mean, just this year, Captain America: Brave New World released to incredibly mixed reviews, and has seen
one thing that that this movie had was they reshot the fuck out of it, because I think that they had it going in a completely different direction, saw the changes in the kind of what people were wanting out of these movies, and saw that they were fucking up because they weren't gonna appeal to. I think they were trying to appeal to what the online was saying at the time when they started this movie. And the problem is when you appeal to only the online feedback, is you're only seeing a small cut size of the actual audience going to see your thing, because there's tons of people that have no fucking clue what's going on online, and you're only listening to the loudest people in the room usually, when the majority of people is who you should be looking for. What did we do in the past that succeeded, and how do we move that forward, instead of like, oh well, these people want this and these people want this, and let's just try to make all these fucking, we'll bend the knee to all of these different things and try to force it into the writing of the story. At least that's what I think, because I watched the fucking Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, and it feel like it was trying to appease a bunch of different ideas, and the writing was just all trying to force it in there at any given point without actually just thinking, we want to make a good story, here's the story, cut and dry, it's done. The most interesting thing in the Winter Soldier thing has nothing to do with the terrorist group that's in there. It has to do with like the purple mask guy, whatever his name is. All of that shit interesting. All the other shit going on in like the evil white Captain America guy that was not Captain America, whatever his fucking name was, didn't care. It was just all over the fucking place, and it was like trying to do a million different things, and I don't think any of them were landing well.
A major drop-off in its second week in theaters. It's no exaggeration to say that the film industry for a while now has been kind of bloated with superhero films, and people are beginning to move on to other things. Auteur films like Oppenheimer, or even video game movies, what was once considered to be the laughingstock of Hollywood, are now seeing unprecedented amounts of success.
Well, one thing that I can say that was the one time I think that they listened to the internet and it worked, it wasn't because it was like one small group saying things, or one group wanting this, or one group wanting that. When Sonic was it had its first trailer release, everyone unanimously said, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. What the fuck did you do to Sonic? I'm not going to this. They realized they fucked up. They recreated the character to make it look better, and they released the movie. And that small amount of care made people want to go see the movie. And the first Sonic movie is the worst of the trilogy. Hands down the worst of the trilogy. And it seemed like they just kept, they figured out what didn't work in the first movie. They put that shit off to the sidelines. And each movie has been more and more focused on the Sonic characters and less focused on all the other real world shit, and we've gotten better shit because of it. And it shows that they actually care about the IP, and they want this IP to be successful, and they're not trying to just like put everything into the movie to hope it succeeds. They're just trying to do right by the character, and that's what you need to focus on. And that's the problem Marvel has, is they're not doing right by the character. They're trying to feed in all this other outside bullshit into the film that's ruining the narrative process, and they're not hiring writers that actually care about the original IPs.
Marvel was once the king, but now its crown is very much in question. Meanwhile, anime is doing incredible right now. In the time that superhero films have been declining, anime has been rising. And what definitely helps things is that anime is much, much more directly tied to manga. If someone gets caught up on the One Piece...
Absolutely. This is something I had a conversation with somebody before where I was talking about the Umbrella Academy, and I'd been doing, like, after the first season of Umbrella Academy, I got hooked. I listened to every lore breakdown. I listened to every thing from the comic. I could not get enough. I was so into it, and then the show just said, fuck the comics, we're doing whatever the fuck we want, and I stopped liking the show. It wasn't because of Elliot Page, it wasn't because of all this outside interference, it was because the show literally took its ass out and shit on the thing that I became passionate about. When you watch anime, for the most part, you can go to the manga and you can see a correlation between the two. Otherwise, it ends up dying in obscurity because the fan base doesn't want to see it anymore. You see it happen all the time. Look at the Berserk anime. It got 2 seasons and everybody fucking laughed that bitch out of the fucking room because it was so insulting to the manga. You see the direct correlation. I think there's a huge problem with Marvel where, because they've stretched it out for so long and they've literally just kept milking their own dick with all of these characters, that when you're going in to make this, you're not going to be able to make it off of a comic run, because which comic run do you do? Well, how do we tie that into this grander narrative we have now? It's just a clusterfuck, because there's 87 different Spider-Mans you can do. There's 87 different Batmans, 100 different Supermans. What the fuck are you supposed to do? And it's literally cornered them. I really think that also you look at the fact that by not giving a shit and proving they didn't give a shit, that they sometimes have some like secret hits like Hellboy, which I love the first 2 Hellboy movies. I didn't know anything about the comic, didn't care about the comic. I watched the movies, was like, this is cool, and I thought that's what Hellboy was. Coming to find out, that's not what Hellboy is at all. It's absolutely wrong. And when I watched The Crooked Man, that movie has a lot of issues, but it is accurate to the comic for the most part. There's some new additions here or there, but it tries to stay fairly decently close to what the comics told, and I think that I honestly give it a lot of credit for doing that, and I thought it was an actually pretty good movie for the budget it was put on, for what it was trying to do, what it was trying to accomplish. It was kind of refreshing to go into a movie and watch something that I've read the comic, and it's the comic. It's so rare here with superheroes and stuff to actually see this happen.
These anime, for example, they can very easily buy the manga to pick up where the anime story left off. The anime and manga feed into one another seamlessly. Meanwhile, comic book movies, while they draw from several different sources, are typically their own thing. They don't feed into the comics nearly as much as the anime do, and thus there's not as much incentive from the viewer to dive into that source material. However, I think this problem goes much deeper than just how these comics are advertised and promoted. I want to ask all of you a hypothetical question. Let's say that I'm someone who wants to get into the One Piece manga, and naturally I ask you, where do you think I should start? No, seriously, this is a real question.
This is going to make a lot of people mad. If you want to get into One Piece and you don't want to read the manga, you want to just get into the show, here is my advice, and this is going to upset some people. Watch the live action first. Oh, I know that it pisses a lot of people off. I like the live action. I think they did a fairly decent job. I think that it streamlines a lot of the stuff that happened in the anime. If you like the live action and you want to see the anime version of it, which is much longer, then watch that. If you feel like you've gotten enough from the live action, jump in where the live action ends in the anime. Start watching it then. Make sure to check the anime list to cut out all the filler, get it through all the, just get straight to the plot. Go through the anime that way. Because honestly, I really like the live action. I think the live action did a good job, and I think it is a good way to streamline through the first 100 episodes or something. I think it did a really good job in that regard, and I think that you can jump in right after that and into the anime and then watch the 900 episodes left after that. I think that would be the best way to go about it. And then get to the manga after you've already caught up. Or you can skip all that and read the manga. It would be way faster. You could just read the manga over all of that. I still think you could skip the first arc and watch the live action, because that would be quicker than watching the manga or reading the manga. And then start with the manga after the live action, so that you could then speed your way up to where the anime is ended.
What do I get into the One Piece manga? I'm serious. Go ahead. Think about it and tell me your answer. I'll wait.
Brought to you by...
I did that. I definitely did that for you. I have already accomplished this task. I think I did it the best way. A lot of people aren't going to like my answer, but I'm a huge One Piece fan, and I was so happy with the live action that I think they did it perfect.
Okay, so I'm willing to bet there is a large majority of you who simply answered start at volume 1. And that would be absolutely correct. One Piece has a definitive beginning where you're supposed to...
Well, see, I incorporated all media because that's what's brilliant about where we're at and why the One Piece live action was so good, because I can watch the One Piece live action and then I can start right with the anime, because it followed the anime pretty closely. It just cut out a lot of the fluff, and I think it did a really good job of picking what could stay and what couldn't. Now there's some stuff that I feel like they cut that I don't absolutely love, but I thought they did a fairly good job with what they had. But I like the fact that I can literally go, okay, I'm gonna go live action, anime, then read manga. It's perfect, and it all seems perfectly into each other. All three of them work together simultaneously, which is brilliant, which is something that the Marvel movies and all of these different superhero movies do not do.
To start, as is the case with most manga. It's simple, intuitive, and easily accessible. Now, why would you tell someone who wants to get into Spider-Man comics? I am imagine that if you were to ask any number of comic book fans this question, you would get so many varied answers. And that's because the truth of the matter is that there is no definitive answer to this question. Superhero comics can be incredibly overwhelming. Any number of series and characters can have years upon years of different runs, spin-offs, reboots, alternate storylines. It kind of comes off as a jumbled mess to new readers. And not helping things is the fact that so many of these comics are part of a universe that seeps into a large number of other different series. Here, let me give you an example. When I was in college, I really wanted to get into IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I already really liked Ninja Turtles, but the art here was so incredible, and I really dug the overall tone and the back.
And what's crazy too, if you watch the cartoon's actually kind of like a bastardization, played down version of a very, very, very dark comic. Because the comic was just kind of it basically was doing a Daredevil but with Ninja Turtles, but like bloodier and darker. It was violent. Like the original run's very violent, and they turned it into a kids IP by kind of bastardizing it. Not that I don't think the 80s show is amazing, because I really do love the 80s show, but if you look at some of the panels from the original comic, it's pretty dark and edgy.
Story for the Turtles was really interesting in this specific iteration. I really wanted to keep reading. However, there was something that kept happening in the comic that really turned me off. Every now and then, the characters would talk about events that had just never happened within the comic itself. And when they did talk about these things, a little box would show up right in the corner telling me to check out this specific issue from this spin-off comic that explains what they're talking about. And I just really...
This happened to me when there was a Cable run, right? And the whole premise was... Cable went back in time to save this girl that they wanted to kill because she ends up causing... It was kind of like Looper, where they go back to kill this kid because it's gonna end all things or whatever, right? So Cable doesn't want to kill her because he thinks that if she's raised right, she could become good. Well, Bishop thinks that she's evil, so they're bouncing through time while Cable's raising this little girl, and she's growing up through the comic, and it's this beautiful story. It's incredibly well done. And then they decide... They're done with the Cable thing, but the story's not done. But they're going to spin it off into X-Men, they're going to spin it off into this, and the story gets all convoluted, and I stopped reading. I stopped caring because there was 87 different directions this comic went. It was dealing with, well, if you want to find out what happens next, get issue number 211 of X-Men. Well, I was like, why can't you just fucking contain the story into this comic book run, and I will fucking love it and keep buying it. It was just so annoying to me, and I was like in middle school, and I thought it was the most irritating fucking thing that I couldn't just keep reading and keep getting the monthly issue of this comic to find out the end of the story.
Didn't like that. I just wanted a simple, painless reading experience and didn't feel like dividing my attention amongst a bunch of different spin-offs that, quite frankly, I just didn't have any interest in. And yeah, you can make the argument, well, you don't have to read all of those different series, you can just ignore it. But the issue with that is that not everyone is going to share that same sentiment. For some people, they don't like just ignoring details and not having the full picture. I imagine there's a good amount of people like me who get alienated by this kind of stuff. And this is a huge aspect of comics. I mean, just look at the massive crossover events that Marvel or DC have every now and then. The 2015 Secret Wars event had its own comic dedicated to it, but it was also spread out amongst so many different series.
This also happened to me. I was reading the Ghost Rider comic, and there was a crossover with World War Hulk and Ghost Rider, and it was a really cool battle, but I had no fucking idea why Hulk was like trying to destroy the entire world. I was seeing all this stuff and I was interested, but Ghost Rider didn't give a shit, and he just moved on after they fought, and it was like, oh, I guess I'm never seeing what's happening with that again, because I was only reading the Ghost Rider comic. And it just felt like I was missing so much context, but luckily they wrote it to where Ghost Rider didn't give a shit, so I didn't have to give a shit. But there was still a lot of shit going on that I had no idea why it was happening, why Hulk was now this like fucking like Roman gladiator looking motherfucker, and why he was trying to destroy the Earth. I had no idea. I was like, I thought Hulk was a good guy. I guess they just wrote this shit so he could fight Ghost Rider, and I moved on. But come to find out, there was this entire World War Hulk arc that involved the entire MCU, our Marvel universe in the comics. It was just so confusing.
Nearly 50 different tie-ins all related to it. And that's not even mentioning past series that happened before Secret Wars that also had a part to play in the storyline. And look, I get it. I can understand why this is appealing to people. It's a grand, epic story that encapsulates every corner of the universe. But it can also be incredibly alienating to new readers. Anyone who's looking
Not to mention incredibly overwhelming. This is so overwhelming because I tried on, I can't even remember what was going on. I think it was Civil War. I tried my hardest to like because I wanted to know what was happening with Captain America, why he died, all this stuff, and I tried to like get into it, but it was so overwhelming trying to figure out where all these different fucking branching timelines were going instead of them just like making a dedicated Civil War comic that just like had everything encompassed. All of the story was going on, like have a chapter like, oh, this issue of Civil War is going to be around this enemy or this character and this character. In each chapter you learn more things and it all ends up encompassing on a bigger thing, but it's not a different run, it's not a different comic book. And this is the problem with American comics. Instead of just saying beginning, middle, end, we got the thing, it's done, this is our story, we pulled these characters in for it. Yeah, you can't do that. It's like, no, well, it's part of this arc and that arc, and these guys are going through this shit, and that's so annoying.
To get into comics probably isn't going to get anything out of it the same way that people have been invested for years will. And to me, that's the ultimate conundrum when it comes to getting into comics. They're both alienating, but also kind of strangely stagnant. I'm definitely not the first person to say this, but I feel as though superheroes have become kind of homogenous in this day and age. It's getting to the point that it doesn't feel like there's a ton of variety in what superheroes can offer. And not helping things is the ever apparent reality that these comics will usually adhere to a status quo. It's well known at this point that superhero comics rely very heavily on established characters and lore. That's not to say that things don't change in comics or there aren't big shakeups, but it's also not wrong to say that it's safe to assume that a lot of things will go back to normal in the long run. Characters will get their powers back, they will beat the bad guys, and most of the time they will come back to life. And this is
well, I mean, anime has this, or manga has this problem too. Shonen does this all the time. Shonen has this in a big way. I've watched enough shonen anime to know that this is a problem there too. It's there's so many overlaps where it gets really annoying. I mean, where they just kind of follow the Dragon Ball Z preset and put their own twist on it. It happens all the fucking time. I'm not saying that it doesn't. Fucking my penis is in my butt. Anyways, fuck, dude. I'm not saying that superheroes don't have it way worse, which it makes sense they have it way worse because they've been around longer than manga has, but I'm just saying that to say that manga doesn't have it is completely wrong.
Because superheroes aren't just a single writer. They're a smaller part of not only an entire universe, but an entire company. And this means that, yeah, they're victim to executive meddling. Certain things might not be allowed to happen in a series because of something else happening in a different series, or because they need the story to go in a certain direction to prepare for a big event. And not only that, but sometimes even things outside of the comics determine what goes in them. Do you guys remember when the X-Men were super downplayed in the comics because Disney didn't have the movie rights to the X-Men series, and so they wanted to devalue that franchise? Yeah, that's something that can happen. Meanwhile, with manga, you're typically getting a single creative vision. That's not to say that outside forces, such as editors or even fans, don't play a part, but for the most part, it's the author's story, and there's not nearly as many hands.
I mean, this isn't even... You can look at Spy X Family and a lot of them where they're writing shit that they don't like and don't care about anymore, but because it's popular. So, I mean, yes and no. I feel like this is somebody who really this is part where somebody who really likes manga is looking over some of the things that are over like parallels and acting like those parallels don't exist, because they definitely do to a big degree. I mean, you can look at the creator of Vagabond, worked on Vagabond way past the point that he even wanted to fucking touch that thing anymore. You can look at, again, Spy X Family, where he hates Spy X Family. It's not hates the whole thing, but like the little girl, he hates that character. And it happens all the time where they're continuously writing this thing because it's popular and because everybody loves it, and they don't want to be writing it, and so they have to keep stretching it out till it ends, though, because they're trying to do best by the character and best by their publishers and best by their editors in a very stringent, chaotic, or like terrible work environment. So it's the same overlap. It's just where we had this guy has more of a bias towards the other.
Involved in the process. Along with this, there's just a lot more variety within the world of manga. There's so many stories and genres that simply stand on their own and appeal to a much wider audience. Superhero comics, for the most part, appeal mostly to male audiences. That's not saying that women can't like comic books, but
Okay, so this is again just like a not. It's the same appeal. Like, you look at, they do make comics and stuff for girls and stuff. There's definitely focuses like Blondie and stuff throughout the ages that had more of an appeal to women. And the same thing happens in manga, where they have certain comics that appeal more to women. To act like your shonen guy, your shonen audience isn't a majority men. This is where we're getting to where his points aren't as good as the ones earlier. These are just kind of fucking guesstimations that he's assuming onto the audience.
Historically, it's a male-dominated medium, whereas with manga, it's easy for anyone of any background, belief, or gender to enjoy these stories because it's...
See, this is such an assumption. This is a mad assumption, and just like acting like the majority of popular manga that turns into anime and stuff, your average, like, what they're focusing on, the audience they're focusing on when they're getting stuff for Shonen Jump, I'm betting money is a male audience. So this, again, is just a false equivalence.
It's just not nearly as homogenized. And I think that's the ultimate strength of manga. American superhero comics are usually a specific thing, but Japanese manga can be anything. And that's why it'll only continue to grow. So I have to ask the question, does this mean that American comics are going to die?
No, because you're using big examples. You're using I was really vibing with his points here. I was agreeing with almost 90% of what he was saying until he got on this last arc here, and I think he just lost the fucking plot, and he's completely wrong. Now, I'm not saying he's in Cum Falcon territory. He's not drowning in a volcano of like pus and vaginal fluid and like period blood. He's not that point yet. I just think that he is missing the point in a lot of regards here. It's like he's taking an entire industry versus a cutout of a certain industry. That's like, he's taking, like, only using the examples of your top 2 comic companies with superheroes. He's only utilizing superhero comics. He is not incorporating your comic strips like Garfield, your comic strips like Calvin and Hobbes. He's not factoring in shit like that, and I think he's missing a giant cutout point, because like, I don't know how many girls and stuff I knew growing up that like owned endless numbers of Garfield. Like, I used to talk to almost everyone I knew had Garfield shit, and that's American comics as well. And I think what he's doing is he's comparing an entire industry versus a sample size of another industry, which is a false equivalence from the very get-go. Now, I do think that if he was comparing like shonen manga and shonen anime to the Marvel and Marvel comic, like Marvel movies and Marvel comics, I think there is some valid comparisons there to show why one is starting on the downfall and one's still growing up, because you can leave one anime and go to another anime and get a whole new experience and not have to watch all of this other shit, or you can also go to the manga and read the shit and still be on the same storyline. You won't be confused. That is definitely a great argument. But to make this false equivalence here, I just think is just kind of missing a large point that, and making a point that is you're falling. You're building a fucking stack of cards on the wind. It's terrible. This isn't good.
Honestly, no, I don't think so. I need to clarify that I don't hate superheroes or anything like that. None of this comes from a place of malice, more so just observation. And from what I can observe, although superhero comics don't dominate the market like they used to, they're still generally doing pretty okay in the grand scheme of things. If anything, I think manga represents less the death of superhero comics and more of a shift in what American comics will become more popular. There will always be a demand for superheroes, but I also have to wonder with these trends if Marvel or DC feel the need to make any shifts in their strategies. Perhaps to more standalone stories that focus less on established characters and more on new ideas and individual authors. That's hard to say because, I mean, why do people go to DC and Marvel? It's for superheroes, and if they stop providing that, then I can imagine people will begin to lose interest.
I think where he lost the plot is he kind of wrote himself into a hole here. You look at like it's Garfield. This is the Garfield movie. I was trying to look up Garfield comic sales figures, and I can't find the Garfield comic sales numbers over Lifetime. But I mean, Garfield's been running for like an eternity. It's been running since like the beginning of fucking time. But you look at like stuff like Family Circus, Garfield, Calvin and Hobbes, and a lot of these examples like that, where it's a different sample size. And I mean, you're showing stuff from like Spy X Family, which it ends up becoming more adjacent to more of a less shonen and more of whatever that fucking day-to-day life bullshit's called. You start taking these correlations of, manga encompasses all these different audiences. You should have just kept the sample size to shonen versus superheroes, and why shonen was doing better, because I think a lot of your points would have made, and you would have avoided the whole taking, women like manga more because they don't market it to boys. You had that. I mean, yes, that point would be eliminated, but because you put that point in, now you're wrong. You've written yourself into a position where you were adding points, you were taking and jotting your lines down, you put it in the script, you said this will be great, and you hurt yourself because you're doing this versus American comics versus manga. And you're doing entire industries, and then you forced American comics into a very in a big portion of the comics, but you're also eliminating Blondie, you're eliminating Garfield, and all these other examples that prove your points wrong. Now, the video up until stagnation, 100% right. I agree with everything you said. Everything else so far, it has been just your biases came through in lack of research.
Think will happen is Marvel and DC will stick to what they know best, and instead we'll begin to see a larger influx from other publishers and creators that are more concerned with telling very focused stories from people with one creative vision. And I think that that's a good thing. In this day and age, what people want the most are just good stories they can relate to, easily pick up and read, and have a beginning, middle, and end. And that's something that manga will always be able to provide. No matter who you are, there's always going to be a story specifically for you. And that, to me, is the true beauty of manga.
And I think there is comics that do this in the same regard. There is definitely stuff in the American comics that are doing this, and I think a lot of it is switching in this direction. I do think it has been a problem in the past, and the over focus on some of these IPs to just drag them out as long as possible is absolutely a problem that American superhero comics have, and that niche are so far. But again, me utilizing things like Garfield, you can jump into any point in Garfield and like you're fine. There is no real starting point. I mean, there'll be adding characters and stuff, but it doesn't feel like it actually changes the overall thing where you're not getting a giant narrative, because it's kind of a what's going on this week in Garfield. I just feel like I don't want to be mean to this guy because I think he made an incredible video. I think he really made an incredible video. It just fell apart for me so hard at the end there. It just, his false equivalences just showed the bias, and it irritated me. And it's not just because he brought like the virtue signal of, oh, this one cares about women more. It's not that, and it wasn't really even a virtue signal. It's just missing. It just muddies the entire waters of all the points you made thus far. It makes everything in a new light for me, and that really makes it tough for me to break down my opinions on this piece in general and my opinions overall. I think that if I were head of these companies, I would reset, and I would just say, from now on, these are the stories. This is a cutout. This is a cutout. This is a cutout. They are not going to intercross. They are going to have their own encompassing stories. A superhero might come in and help them, but there is no tie-ins. No more tie-ins. We're done. And I would run a story, beginning, middle, and end, and then I would start a new run. And I would say, like, this is an arc. You can read this from beginning, middle, and end. This is this story. Done. And if you really wanted to keep pulling that IP back, you could, but it's a different character now. It's not the same as before. You're doing an absolutely new thing. And that's why I don't hate on like Absolute Batman or whatever, because it's doing its brand new thing. And I didn't hate on it when I watched that one racist guy's video on it, because I think that they're doing their own thing. Does it seem pretty cringe? Sure, but if they do it beginning, middle, and end, and then just end it off, and they're like, that was Absolute Batman, hope you enjoyed, cool. But also, like, you can look at comics like Sin City, you can look at stuff like Hellboy, and there is stuff out here in the US that's been doing the single, this is the story, beginning, middle, and end, that's it, we're done. And there is a lot of examples that have done that, and I think they've done it really well. And we've had correlations to where you look at, I think, Invincible, from what I've heard, is pretty close to the comics, and Invincible has a beginning, middle, and end, so that's cool. So there is examples of it. It's just the two big industries on it, DC and Marvel, have really just maintained the heroes that they built back in the 70s and 80s and 90s when they were going really hard. They just kind of keep existing. They'll add a new character here, a new character there, but the base popular ones, they're just sucking the teat off of them as hard as fucking possible instead of trying to create something new. And when you stop trying to create something new, you start stifling creativity, and you start getting a lot of the slop and a lot of the bad writing, because it's somebody else who wants to create their own character, but they're not allowed to, so they're forcing this character to conform to their ideology, which is going to ruin a character that people have beloved for centuries. And that's the issue. It's not just one person's creative vision. I think comics in the US, especially from like Marvel and a lot of these superhero comic stuff, I think they could learn a whole lot from manga in this regard, because let a writer create the character from beginning, middle to end, do a story however long it is, run that till it's done, and then let them create something else. And I think that a lot of these people that are working on some of these comics that are like they're runners that they run constantly, I think that they could take in, oh, well, this guy was really good with this Spider-Man run, we should give him his own comic. This guy's a really good artist, we should give him his own comic, and just see how that works. I mean, run the gamble on it. Release it on an online platform. See how it does. Then utilize the fact that you're also you're a part of a giant conglomerate under Disney, and then release a fucking animated version of it. Get some of your animators to crank something out and just start doing that. And I think you would follow the example that Japan led, and I think that you could really turn around the industry. But that's kind of my thoughts on the process. Let me know where you think I'm wrong. Let me know how fucking moronic I am, or if I yap too much in the comments below. Hit me with a dislike. Like my video if you liked it, and I look forward to arguing with you in the comments. But that's all I got for you guys today. I enjoy you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, boys and girls, that is all I have for tonight. It is 10:30. I want to go to bed. I want to relax. So I love you all. Thank you all for checking in and watching and enjoying. I hope you guys are all beautiful, beautiful boys, girls, women, men, clout goblins, nightmare creatures. I hope you all keep watching my shit. I appreciate you all. I'll catch you.